Perfect. All right. So how was the drive over here?
It was really good. It was good.
It was good?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
All right. And where are you driving out from?
East LA.
East LA. Have
East
you
LA.
always lived in East LA?
Nah, I just moved there. I was in Hollywood.
In Hollywood?
Recently, I was in East Hollywood.
Did you grow up in Hollywood?
No,
or?
I grew up in LA.
What part of LA?
South Central LA. South Central. So like the heart of South Central. But like a lot of people claim LA, but I'm actually proud of being like from South Central because I seen all the hood mentality and I seen like the OG ways and I seen gangs and I've been in the middle of all that and being in the middle of all that, I've been able to think differently and escape like the whole mentality, the whole cycle that everyone's living in there.
What age to what age did you live there? Well, what's your age now?
Right now I'm 27. I'm 27, yeah. So I grew up there.
11 years difference.
Oh, 11? Yeah, you're 38.
Yeah, bro, I'm 38, man.
Damn.
I'm 38, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. They say the 30s are the good years.
Dude, I've loved my 30s, man. I honestly, look, I'll be straight with you, man. I'm fucking super pumped up for my 40s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. I love to hear that.
I'm super pumped up for my 40s. My 30s, for sure, have been my best decade, right? And I don't want to say it like obviously, I think, I mean, and I'm not saying this for most people, but the older we get, the more mature, right? The more financially.
The more wise.
The more wise, the more financial. But it's like, it's not even so much about like finance or anything, bro. It's just like the maturity, the perspective that came in my 30s. For me, I felt like that was huge, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, correct.
Huge. I feel like perspective shift.
Yeah, yeah.
My 30s has been it.
Yeah, true.
It's had like I see life, myself, my relationships so much different than I did back in my 20s and before, man. So yeah, and I believe that the next decade is gonna fucking be like AI. It's gonna go 10 times, 10 times faster, bro.
Correct. Yeah,
10 times
so
faster.
Have this exponential growth. You know, it's funny that a lot of people that I talk to when they say they're 38 or 35, they say like they're afraid, like they're scared. They're like, oh, I'm 35 already. Like that's done. Like life is done for them.
Really?
And I try to tell them like, bro, this is your prime because you've never been this wise. You never had this much experience in life yet. So I'm 27, but I feel like I have matured a little bit more than the average person around me. But I do anticipate my 30s. I do anticipate my 40s.
Okay.
And I want those to be my best years.
Dude, and they will, man. With that perspective, they absolutely will.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to go back to a little bit, you said South Central LA, right?
Yeah, correct.
Man, for me, I fucking...
Did you grow up? Have you been there? Have you grew up?
So I got a real bad taste in my mouth when it comes to South Central LA. And like just South LA, like in general, right? Like I know I've been blessed to know quite a few people that grew up in that area. But man, like I really want to get to like what your experience was of South LA. And I'm glad that you had the type of experience that rather than having it suck you into the streets, I feel like you were able to see it and want something different.
Correct.
Right. But like, so when I went to barber school, right? Because I was in barber. I went to downtown LA. It's called Abram Friedman Occupational Center,
yeah. I heard of it.
And so when I went to barber school, I did full-time barber school.
Okay.
Right. And I finished it in like a year, but it was supposed to take me like almost 2 years because they only did school Monday through Thursday, and it was only like 8 to 2. Or 8 to 3. So it wasn't like max hours, right? Like I couldn't do max hours, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? But fortunately, I was able to do night. Like I put myself in the night class too. So I was able to finish faster. Anyway, so when I was in barber school, right? Because Monday through Thursday, like I couldn't have a job.
Yeah.
Like going to school was my job. What I started doing was going to yard sales. Right, I bought myself a little extended cab Toyota Nissan Frontier.
Okay.
Stick shift. And I started. What I did was I would go to yard sales.
Okay.
Right, it was cool. I would go on MapQuest.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember MapQuest?
No,
I don't. Man, I'm dating myself again.
That's old, huh? Yeah. Okay.
So back before we had like maps on our phones, right? Back before we had Google Maps, you would go on your desktop. Right, you would go on your desktop.
Yeah.
and you would get directions to wherever you wanted to go, right? It's just like Google Maps. You punch in the address, you punch in your address, it gives you directions, right? Then you'd print out the paper,
print it out, I was gonna say
and then
that.
you'd have it in your car.
I still did that, but not through MapQuest. But I was able to print.
Okay, perfect. So I would go on MapQuest or Google. I think Google Maps had just started coming out too.
Yeah.
And it was easier to organize my addresses. So anyway, what I would do is I would go online. I would go on Craigslist. I would go on Yahoo.
Okay.
I would go on Google, and I'd search up yard sales in my area.
Yeah.
I grew up in La Puente.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So I would look up yard sales all the way up to like El Monte, Baldwin Park, right? And what I would do is I would find all of these yard sales online, right? And then I would get all of the addresses of those yard sales, and then I would put them into MapQuest or Google Maps. Like I would just put all of them, bam, 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 bam. I put like 10, 15 addresses.
Yeah.
And then it would have a picture of the map. And it would show me like A to B, B to C, B, right? Correct. And just based off of what I seen, I would organize the addresses in order from closest to furthest.
Okay.
Right? Closest to furthest. Yeah. And then what I would do is I would drive to each one of those addresses, right? But most of the time I'd never make it to the last one because my strategy was these 10, 15 addresses are just to give me like a goal. Just to give me a destination, right?
Yeah, correct.
But along the way, from one address to the next, I was like a fucking hawk.
Yeah.
I was looking for those neon signs.
Oh, okay,
right?
For the yard
posted
house.
on the poles. And between one address and the other, I'd probably stop at 1 to 4 yard sales.
Okay.
Just from one address to the next, from all of the signs that I would see along the way.
But you were reselling?
I was reselling everything online.
Online, okay.
I would sell it on Craigslist. I would sell it on eBay. All of that. I would buy skateboards, refrigerators, sofas, dressers, playing cards. You name it, man. I'd find gold in these places. Tools were big for me.
Yeah, tools.
Dressers, believe it or not, were big for me. I feel it's because a lot of people had dressers, and they're like, man, I just don't want to take this shit back in the house. Give me $10.
Yeah, give me $10.
I'll take whatever just so that I don't have to take it back in there.
Yeah.
But then when you post them online, people were always paying between $100 and $300 depending on the dresser.
Yeah, correct.
The most I ever paid for a dresser was like $40. So you can imagine selling a $40 dresser for $280.
Yeah.
It was huge, right? Selling toolboxes, all that stuff. Anyway, I used to also buy electronics.
Okay.
One day, I went to, there was a Vons somewhere in South LA, right? And I had like the meet me in a public place.
Yeah,
right? Like I'm going to meet you in front of the store, all of that, bro. So I had a MacBook, right? This person wanted to buy a MacBook off of me. And so I pull up, right? Fortunately, I had left my car on and my wallet inside the car.
Okay.
Right? So I pull up and I'm waiting by the car, and the guy rolls up and he's like, "Oh, you the one with the laptop?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool. You know, I'm whatever." He shakes my hand, and I give him the laptop. Right? I give him the laptop, and he opens it. He's like, "Oh, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna make sure it turns on." I was, yeah, go for it. Right? There's fucking people driving through the parking lot, going in and out of the Vons. I literally parked by the handicap space.
Yeah.
That was right in front of the store. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so this dude's checking out the laptop, and out of nowhere, this guy's just walking like nonchalantly right behind him.
Bucket, yo, bucket, like a pinnacle bull. Bucket, wow, bucket, a good night. Love money is bull. Look at that horse, look at that horse. See as hell, I'm back to rap.
And this fool just goes right in front of him and puts a fucking strap straight to my stomach.
Damn.
He puts a strap straight to my stomach, and he said, give me a second. Okay, perfect. And he said, give me everything I'm gonna take everything that's in your pockets.
Yeah.
He's like, and I don't want you to say shit. He's like, I'm gonna walk away with whatever you have in your pockets, and we're taking this laptop from you too.
Damn.
And I was just like, that was, I think the first time I ever had a gun like actually pointed at me.
Damn. Yeah, South Central.
Yeah, and it was in South LA.
So, people do have this idea that it is like that, and it is like that. You could have bad luck. You could have bad moments while you're growing up there. Mm-hmm. But I did grow up, like, overall, Like you get introduced to drugs at a young age. Everyone around you, like the kids, are already like into pornography. Some people are like, I was a dean's assistant in 8th grade, so I was able to see everything that was happening in middle school, and the things that we saw, it was just like people bringing knives, people bringing drugs to school, and we're in like 8th grade, 7th grade. Some of these people were like 6th graders. So now imagine high school. High school was like, now people are like smoking weed, doing NOS, and they're having parties. You're going to these parties. Obviously, in one of those parties that you're going to, something's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get robbed. So I was,
that was a given, really, because everything you're telling me, other than the knives and the guns and stuff like that, school and junior high,
Yeah.
but like the NOS and the partying, that happened in La Puente too,
Okay,
right?
okay.
But like in La Puente, it wasn't like you were guaranteed something was going to happen at every
But
party.
if you were like the one selling it, and you were the one around those people,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're most likely something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right, gang related so I did grow up around all that stuff, Josie, and I gotten robbed too at the bank. They robbed me once at the bank. I was young. I had gotten like one of my first checks. I remember it was an overnight shift, so I came out of work at 7 a.m. And then I was at the bank like at 7 a.m. There's no one there. I think it was a little bit earlier, like 6:30. So they robbed me while I'm putting the check in and the money comes out. They robbed me quick.
Man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. So then like growing up around all that, seeing all that, and then I also already had older friends that like party every weekend. It's not like I said, the mentality is not all that bad. Not everyone's that bad, but me trying to be more successful in life, there's a point where I get accepted to CSUN, so it's like an hour away, and then I'm like, I'm doing summer school, but I'm also I'm in LA, and all my homies are hitting me up like, hey, let's smoke, hey, let's do this, and I'm like, damn, if I stay here, I'm not gonna finish college. Like being around these people, even though I'm trying to become a better person, being around this environment is not gonna allow me to become a better person.
But what had you see that, bro? Like what? So, because a lot of people get drawn into that, right?
Yeah, correct.
And then it's like that story that I hear of like the two twins. I don't know if you've heard it before.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Right, like the two twins. They had an alcoholic dad.
Yeah.
Right? You've heard the story,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
One, they asked them the same question.
They asked them the same question.
Like, why did you become successful? Because I had an alcoholic
Yeah,
dad that used to be my
correct,
mom. Blah blah.
correct.
Why did you become an alcoholic? Because I had an alcoholic dad.
Yeah, correct,
right? Like
correct.
so. I feel like there's always like a switch.
Oh, why?
There's always
correct.
there's always either something that happens that switches your perspective to see, I don't want this for myself.
Yeah, correct.
Or there's someone that comes into your life and does and or says something that clicks and has you say, this is not what I want for my life. What was that for you?
For me, I think a lot of it was like spirituality and God. So like once we became Christian with my mom and my dad.
What age?
I became Christian when I was like 8. And
but you're 8. I mean, so tell me what.
So, but at 8, I'm already seeing my mom in an abusive relationship with my dad. So it's like you grow up at 5, you already know they're fighting. Like at 6, you already know they're my dad's fighting. You already know we might leave the house. Like we're 6 years old. I'm 6 years old, but I could already process all that. So at 8 years old, 9 years old, my mom and my dad come to Christ. And then they want a different life. So I see my dad go from an alcoholic, from one day to another, he never drank. And to this day, he has like 20 years sober. And
has he ever given you his testimony? Like me?
No. Because my dad didn't grow up like that. My dad grew up with his upbringing was different. His dad never hugged him. His dad never told him I love you, because I learned that from my mom. So I never really expected it from him. Now that he's older, we do show more affection to each other. But I saw his story. I was able to understand it, because one day I'm in college already, and I started feeling this resentment for a while, because I'm like, damn, like my dad really was hitting my mom, and now they're together. That's weird. But then I was like, damn, my dad wasn't really with me growing up. Like he didn't walk me to school. He didn't. He would take me to my soccer games, but it was like minimum, right? And I started feeling resentment like at 18, 19. But then I'm doing the same thing as a young adult now. Now I'm wasting my time. I'm smoking weed. I'm in college partying. So then I come to the realization, like, oh, my dad was a human too. So the reason why he couldn't spend time with me, it wasn't because he didn't want to. It was because he was in survival mode. He had 7 kids. He was trying to provide for everyone. My mom told me the story that my dad, he had 2 underwears, and he'll wash them every day. Fuck, so he'll switch them off just to buy us stuff. So like I'm saying, I came to a realization that my dad's human too. So I was able to see his testimony, like how he grew up.
He didn't have to tell
He didn't really have to tell me.
Your mom, along with what you remember, along with what
Correct,
you see.
correct. Now I am planning this year to sit down with him and my mom and do a podcast together and talk about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And even if it's just for our family, just us to keep it.
Yeah,
because
just us keep.
I would like to know, especially like now that I had my newborn, I'm carrying my baby and I'm just like, damn, I wonder what my dad was going through when I was a baby. Like, what was he living at? Was he stressing? Was he? And I'm pretty sure he was, but I just never heard that story. You know?
Absolutely.
So that was like, going back to your question, that's what kind of sparks something in me. Is like, okay, I don't want to. I already grew up in LA. I grew up in an abusive household, but I seen it transform. And then I go into high school, college. I'm lost in that cycle. The main thing that drew me back to purpose was, oh, my dad was able to switch his life. My mom was able to switch his life. So if I'm in this hole right now, I could switch my life too. So that's kind of what, like, you know what? I need to leave. I got to go away from all my friends, go to the valley, and just stay away from everyone. But not knowing, I went to the valley. I fell in the same cycle. So that's when I started realizing it's not.
You can't take you could take the hood, the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the
correct. So that's when I started really like, okay, if I really want to change, I have to change. It's not changing locations. It's not changing houses. Like, you need to change internally. So that's when I started like my personal development journey. But all that sparks going back to like Christ, having Christ in your household, seeing my mom go to church, me growing up in church. Once I get lost in the sauce and the hood and all that, there's like this higher calling, you know. And the moment I didn't know it was God, I used to kind of like think it was the universe. I used to think like, there's a higher calling. I didn't want to accept the fact like that there was a God. Now I clearly know, I have faith that there is a higher power and there is a God. In that moment I didn't know, but that was what mainly was calling me back. Like, switch your life around. There's a higher purpose for you. Come this way. And then I started going down my personal development route, hearing podcasts every day. It was so difficult, Josie, because I was going through like depression, and I was.
What age?
I was 22, 23. I was in a relationship, but it wasn't a healthy relationship.
Got it.
So I was going through depression. I tried to snap myself out of it. So I started listening to Gary V, and Gary V is like, the reason that you're
Mr. V.
He's like,
Mr. Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, he's like, the reason why you're fucking depressed every morning is because the headphones. Every time you put your headphones, you're listening to some bullshit. Go listen to some personal development. So I was like, damn, he's right. So I tried this game plan that he says, like, listen to a podcast every day for 30 days. And I was like, oh my God, this is so corny. Because I'm going through like depression. I'm also like in college. I'm smoking weed every morning. So I'm like.
You were a wake and baker.
Yeah, I was a wake and baker.
Okay.
Yeah, my coffee. I was still doing everything that I had to do. And I put on podcasts. And the podcasts would like always touch me. And it was like
it's talking to you.
Yeah, it's talking to me. And while I'm walking to like class, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm like, man, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Like, and then remind me to like get your shit together, wake up, do your homework, go play soccer, go to the gym, kick it with your homies, stay more productive. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting on my feet. So those 30 days turned out to be like 2 days. And now I'm like personal development every day, getting better, journaling, you know, reading books, you know. The first book that I read, it was called High Performance Habits, How Ordinary People Become Extraordinary by Brendan Burchard. And it talked about habits. And it said like courage was one of the main habits. Most of the books you pick up on habits is like, wake up at 4:30, you know, get your breakfast in, work out. This book was different. This book was like, practice courage. And that was like a habit that I never even thought about.
Yeah,
I was always thinking of like, always thinking of like cold plunging, waking up and running. Like,
external things. That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, you think about like, what can I do rather than who can I be?
Yeah, who can I be? So like, you want to be someone who has courage. You want to be someone who practices courage. So courage to speak out, courage to do the project that you want to do. So that book just helped me transformed my whole life. And that's basically like the whole why was mainly like growing up, wanting to evolve,
seeing the evolution of the people in your environment.
Yeah, correct.
Your dad, your mom.
Yeah, and then seeking a higher purpose, just because I knew there was a higher purpose. To this day, I know there's a higher purpose in life than just working and just making money. Like I realized that wealth is more about like family, freedom, and time. Like if you have those three things, like that's wealth to you.
Okay.
Even if you don't have money, even if you don't have the Tesla, even if you don't have the mansion that you want to have, like, because I seen it in Christmas. Like, I have 7 brothers. They have kids. My dad, I remember one day, like, it was like Christmas or New Year's, and I see my dad, and I see all my brothers around him, and I see all my nephews around him. And I'm like, this is wealth right here.
Shit.
Like when I'm 60, I want to have
that wealth.
I want to have that type of wealth.
I want to have that type of wealth.
Yeah, little kids running around, the carne asada.
Yeah.
Your son's here playing soccer, watching a basketball game. Like, and that's kind of was like, damn, this is wealth right here.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. At least what I'm hearing from what you're saying is like, I feel like for you, you're defining for yourself the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Correct.
Right? Which I don't think are necessarily related. You can be rich and wealthy, but you can also be wealthy without being rich is kind of what I'm hearing from you, right?
Correct. And that's why I've learned that, okay, you want to become someone that has wealth, you have to be, it's not someone that, it's not external, it's you're becoming, right? It's a mindset. Yeah, you could act wealthy right now. You know, you could wake up and act like a wealthy person.
Yeah.
Like,
and dude, and in reality, we are.
We are wealthy people. There's
this, his name is Uncle something. It's this viejito, right? I'm gonna put him on here, right? So you guys know what I'm gonna put you guys on this viejito. Fucking super dope on Instagram. I'm sure he's on TikTok, right?
Okay.
But this guy, he's always fucking shirtless, and he's always in the middle of a fucking bayou or some shit, like in fucking Louisiana. I don't know, right? And he talks like he has that southern accent. Southern accent, right? But the other day I seen a video from this dude where he said, and I'll put the video on here too so you guys can watch it, where he said, if we just open or something like this, I might be chopping it up here, but if we just open up our eyes, right, we'll see that we have so much good around us. He said, why is it that negativity hits us so hard? Why is it that it stands out so much? He said, because when you're in a room, right, full of something, when something unique comes up, you'll see it, you'll hear it, you'll feel it, right? And he says, so we get confused when something bad happens. We get confused and think that things are bad. He's like, but no. The only reason that the bad stuff sticks out is because we're surrounded by good.
Correct.
Because if we were surrounded by bad, eventually you'd get blind to it. You wouldn't tell the difference between what's bad and what's evil, right? Because it's all bad, right? So then you get used to it, and then all of that just becomes normal.
Correct.
Right? But why does bad always stick out like a sore thumb? Because it's unique. Why is it unique? Because it's completely surrounded by good.
All the good. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. And when I seen that video, I was like, fuck, man. Wow. Like I'd never really seen it as to like when something bad happens, it only sticks out. Because it's in the background of that evil, in the background of that goodness, there's this humongous fucking wall of good. So of course that one bad thing sticks out like a sore thumb. Right? Except we just tend to focus. Once it sticks out, we focus on that. We get blind to the fact that in the background, it's all love, it's all good. It's all universe, it's all God, right? Like,
and I think that's when like gratitude comes in. Because gratitude will let you see what the good things that are around you every day, you know, and that's something that I struggled a lot too, JC, when I was in college and trying to pursue like my new relationship and getting married, all that. I always focus on the things I didn't have. You know, you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't have.
It's a fucking trap.
It's just a trap.
It's a fucking trap.
Have you heard of the phrase blissful dissatisfaction?
No.
Ed Milet talks about it. Do you know Ed Milet?
Ed Milet, I know Ed
He's
Milet.
like the power of one more.
Blissful dissatisfaction. Okay, tell me more.
Blissful dissatisfaction is every time you reach a goal, every time you reach success, every time you reach a deadline, and you successfully reach it, you're gonna be so blissful. You know, you're gonna be happy. You're like, yeah, we did this project. Yeah, we launched the podcast. Yeah, I opened up the shop. The day after, you're so dissatisfied because you're like, I want more.
Yeah, what's next?
What's next?
What's next?
But every entrepreneur is gonna go through that feeling, you know. But I try to be blissful in the present, like be grateful what you have today. Tomorrow, kind of worry about what you don't have. But today in the present, be grateful. Absorb everything. Be like, hey, I'm grateful I have my kid. I'm grateful I have my wife. But once we do that, we're able to enjoy the present life, and we're able to like you said, like stop seeing the negativity, you know, stop focusing on the things that we don't have, and wake up every morning and be grateful for what we have. But I struggle with that for a moment. Like,
I mean, tell me if I'm lying though. Do you still not struggle with that in moments now?
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And I think this is where we fall into the trap of thinking like one day I'll get there. One day I'll get to the point where like I'm not as stressed. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
But you never get there.
Yeah, you never.
It's a
get
fucking.
there.
It's fool's gold, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You may have a good week, right? Like you may have a good solid run where for a week or something, maybe you right, but at some point life fucking pops you in the mouth. And you're right back at it, right?
Yeah, correct.
How do you get out of it?
Yeah, correct. So how do you get out of it, JC? How do you stop yourself feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of society or the pressure of your own goals? How do you feel content every day? How do you manage that?
So for me personally, the first step isn't fully up to me, right? And this is where I believe faith, God, the universe, source, whatever you call it, right?
Yeah, correct.
I think this is where it kind of kicks in, and why I say it's not up to me. Right? Because the first step is being aware that I'm in it in the first place. Right? And a lot of times we're just going. We're in our day. We're stressed, but like we're not like fully aware that we're actually stressed in that moment, right? Because if I said right now, Diego, if I yelled out, Diego, look at me. And I fucking caught your full attention. And I said, right now, do you want to choose to be happy? Or do you want to choose to be stressed? Right now, not in the future.
Yeah.
Right now. What would Diego choose?
I would choose to be happy.
Fuck right now. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah, correct.
If I yell at the top of my fucking lungs and get your attention, like full attention.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And then I ask you to choose, it's a fucking given.
Yeah.
You're not going to choose stress.
Correct.
It just, every human being that is in that moment of awareness, you just do not choose stress. Therefore, when you're stressed, when you're going through the motions of, when I'm going through the motions of life, I'm not like, yes, to a certain extent, I get it. I'm choosing it. It's my choice, right?
Correct.
But like fully conscious, I'm not sitting there telling myself, no, I'm going to stay stressed right now. Nope. I don't get it. I'm going to stay stressed. I'm going to stay stressed. I'm going to stay pissed off. I'm going to stay upset. Fuck that bitch. And I'm saying it intentional. I'm fully aware that I'm saying, fuck you. Like,
correct.
Right? Like I'm not walking around saying that to myself. Right. And so the first step for me is being aware that I'm there in the first place. Right. Something always happens. Right. I'm driving. My girl says something that like enlightens me in the moment. My kid falls, right, and they're crying, right, and I like in that moment I'm so focused on like my kid, right, like, but something, right, like anything. There's either something that's said, whether through a podcast, a friend, my wife, whatever, right, like, someone says something or something happens in my environment that brings me to like, damn, like in this, like, fuck, I'm like stressed.
Correct.
Right? Or like, fuck, like, I'm really pissed off right now. Or like, I'm really upset, right? And once I can get to that step, right, then the next step is choosing, right? But for every choice, I believe there's always considerations, not reasons.
Oh, okay.
Not reason. The reason why I did that is because she said X.
Oh, yeah,
right? You're blaming your choice on she saying X, right? I see it. I don't see it as a reason for it. I see it like look at considering that she said X
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose to do Y.
Okay.
Right, but again, I'm not. I'm not
correct.
saying that she, and X has anything to do with Y.
Yeah.
They were. I considered them.
Correct.
I just considered them, and then I chose Y.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
And so, I get to that moment where I stop. I'm aware. Fuck, I'm in this moment, and then I consider things. Right, like okay, what happened? Why am I here? Why am I stressed?
Correct.
What am I not seeing?
Yeah.
Right, and then gratitude. You said it plays a huge part.
Yeah.
Like okay, yeah, I get that this is fucked up right now. Right, but like. I'm still driving that car that got me here.
Yeah. I still have my roof over my head.
Like I'm good. Like my health is good, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm, like my kids. Are my kids good? Are my kids safe? Yeah, they're at fucking school, right? Like Like okay, and then gratitude starts to settle in, right? And then I consider gratitude. I consider my options, right? Are there any actions I'm not seeing right now that I could take towards getting away from the situation I'm in? And then after considering all that, I choose. And most of the time, if not every time, what do we choose?
You choose to be happy.
We choose happy.
Yeah, correct.
Right? In a moment of consciousness, in a moment of like actual consciousness.
Yeah.
And those are usually the steps that I kind of go through. That's kind of my process.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen in a minute, like I just said it. Sometimes it'll take like a whole hour, right? To really go through that process.
Yeah.
Right? Especially because we got so many different things being thrown at us at all times that it's not like when I realize I'm stressed and I'm conscious of that moment, that I can just stop everything I'm doing and say, let me cancel my next 2 appointments. I'm no longer going to meet that person right now either. I'm just going to go and sit in a fucking closet and process this. Right? Like, no, like that's not how life works for me at least, right?
It does.
And so sometimes that process does get prolonged, right, to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, because again, I have an appointment, I have a client, I have this, I have a podcast recording, all that stuff. But yeah, that's
have you heard of self-actualization?
Yes, I've heard the term.
It's
Absolutely.
the like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like this pyramid, and self-actualization is all the way to the top. So I feel like that's where you're at in life. Like, and that's good because you self-actualize now.
Yeah.
You regulate.
Self-regulate.
So you like something might happen. You sit down, you think about it. Like, all right, I'm gonna change the way I respond to the situation. You know? But basically, that pyramid explains that. Until people feel safe, the first step is feeling safe. So a lot of people don't even feel safe where they're at financially, when they're in the streets. So they're not going to be able to reach that high level of
their relationship, their friendships, their parents.
But that's where like every person wants to be. Like you self-actualize by yourself, you know? Have you, what for you, what would be the difference between a feeling and an emotion? What would be the difference between?
Oof, that's a fucking good one.
Because that's kind of like what you were explaining right now. A little, right? Like you choose Y, but even though you might feel X, but you choose Y. You know?
A feeling for me, I feel like it's like a gut. Like I feel like that's something that comes from like the gut almost, right? Like it's a sensation you feel in like your body, right? Like that, like to me is like a feeling, right? Like when something happens and you feel the vibration.
Yeah,
in your chest, right? Somebody. They break up with you. You're fired.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Certain triggers that give you like a feeling. Right? Nothing like I don't have to have a look on my face, right? I don't have to be moving in any way and still have like the feeling, right? And again, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, I feel like an emotion is something that triggers a response. Like an emotion, like I'm upset. It's not that I feel, but like that being upset has my mind like I have an emotion, and that emotion is put together with thoughts.
Yeah, correct.
There's thoughts there that are making me feel angry, sad, upset, happy, content, full, hungry.
Yeah,
right. Like just like certain emotions, right? Like emotions. I feel that's another way too. I feel like I can't label a feeling. But I feel like I can label an emotion.
Yeah, that's really true. So what I heard was like feeling is spontaneous, emotion, you choose it. So let's use the example. You're going and you're gonna do public speaking, and there's 5,000 people listening, right? While you're going up there, you're feeling what? Nervous. Yeah, that's spontaneous. That's like part of the.
Yeah, that just that just happens.
It just happens. But once you get to that stage and that microphone and you pick it up, you choose the emotions. So you're either gonna feel fearful, or you're gonna choose to feel joyful, and you're gonna be inspirational. Like you choose it. So like basically that's what I came to learn.
Dope.
Like emotion, you choose it. Feeling is spontaneous, it just happens. Like you said, someone breaks up with you, like, oh, you feel something, you feel your heart, you're like, oh man. But after that, what emotion are you gonna choose to feel, right?
Yeah.
So you could feel sad,
Yeah.
but the emotion
But you don't have to choose to be angry.
Yeah, angry. Yeah. That's like already more deeper, like resentment. Anger.
Or you don't have to choose to stay sad.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Like you could still choose to feel happy. You know, that's one of the things that I like asking people too, because it helps me too, like regulate my feelings, regulate my emotions. You know.
Yeah.
Like, and it's part of self-development. Like I'm really huge in self-development. I know that you are too.
Yeah.
And then communication, right? With my wife, I try to. For example, the first thing I noticed with my wife, we got married. Me and my wife we dated 3 years. We got married right away. I knew I wanted to get married. I had already learned from my.
So you mean you dated 3 years and you got married right away? That
right
doesn't
away.
sound right away. That sounds like you dated for 3 years.
Yeah,
and then got married.
Okay,
which is not bad.
It's not bad. So no, but look, we dated like 2 years. We got engaged and then we got married.
Okay. But don't sell yourself short. That's actually a pretty decent process. I know a gang of people who they meet and 6 months later
and they
they're
get
married.
Yeah. Correct. I just feel like the age. I'm 27. My wife is 24.
Okay.
When we got married, I was 25. She was 23 or 22. I feel like we were. I think now. I think now for society. Oh my God! Like something I noticed in that society, people don't want to get married. People don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
So like when a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends I invited to my wedding, they were like, bro, this is the first wedding I ever got invited to. I'm like, you're lying, bro. He's like, yeah, bro, like no one in my family has gotten married. And it just shocked me, but nobody wants to get married. No one wants to have kids. So at the age that we got married, 25 and 22, I feel like it was pretty young now. Back then, people were getting married 18, 19, you know? Now, like, I think that was pretty young. But after we got married, I realized that the only way our relationship was going to stay healthy is proper communication. But sometimes you could say the right word, but she might understand it differently. Mm-hmm. For example, if you're like, for me, right? Babe, we're leaving soon. Like, soon. In the next, like, we got to leave ASAP. For me, it's like, we got to leave in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, we got to leave now.
Yeah. For her, it's like, oh, soon, ASAP? Like, in the next hour? Okay, cool. I could still cook. And so at some point, I was like, communication is not about using the right words. It is, but there's a second step to it.
What is that? Let's see.
It's making sure that she understands that you guys have the same meaning for the same word.
Okay.
Because it's two.
How do you do that though? Let me ask
the way you do that is so first realizing that you're two completely different worlds, right? Coming together and becoming one. So she might grow up in a household where soon was like, hey, we're leaving soon. It's in the next 3 hours. And for me, my mom, hey, we're leaving soon. It was like, you better get your ass in the car, right? Like, or are you getting left? So, catching it in the moment, like letting it happen once. The second time, like, hey, we're leaving soon, but like 10:30 soon. Like, you got 20 minutes to get ready. So now elaborating more.
Okay.
You know. So, for example, she would be like, "Are you mad?" And I'm like, "I'm not mad." She's like, "Yeah, you are." I'm like, "No, I'm annoyed." That's different than being mad. So I told her, I don't like when you ask me if I'm mad because I'm not mad. But you make me mad by asking me if I'm mad. So now she will be like, are you bothered? Are you annoyed? You know, are you frustrated? So it's just the way you do that is just by having these conversations.
Yeah.
It's like, we're new to this. I told her, hey, if you don't like something about me, tell me. So it's just like,
hey, but that's dope.
Yeah, like,
dope.
But these conversations happen at dinner. These conversations happen when we go out. Like, we're not on our phones. You know, you got to do it intentionally.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, last time you told your mom this, that, like, in front of me, I didn't like that. Yeah. So next time, just don't.
And you know what? I think one thing that's important to make clear too. I think everything you're saying is gold. Like, dude, this, like anybody listening when it comes to communication, this is fucking gold, right? I also want to make clear that those conversations, like the one that you just said right now, hey, that thing that you said, those conversations, I believe, are best to have when you're not in the heat of the moment.
Oh,
right? Give it
yeah.
some time to where you're not still pissed off because she said that in front of her mom, right?
Correct.
And then like be like, hey, can I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Correct. And that
because a lot of times we try to do it in like
in that moment.
Like that shit happens, and then after we're done talking to mother-in-law, it's like we hey, come here.
Nah,
And it's like, hey, like, the fuck was that?
Correct.
You know, I don't like that.
Yeah,
and then it makes it different.
Yeah. I take record of it in my mind, so the next time we go eat, I'll bring it up. You know, so it's like, but it's like where I tell you, like, communication is really important, especially in a marriage, especially now,
dude. In everything,
in
Diego.
everything,
in
business,
everything,
and
right?
everything. Yeah,
and
correct.
So this word communication. And I don't know if it's because I'm on a communication journey myself, right, since 2017, that maybe now I just hear it more, right? But I feel like everybody is using that word communication, right? But I feel like not enough people are defining it. Not enough people know what like it really, really looks like.
Correct.
You could fucking tell a 6-year-old, right? Hey, communication is important in your relationships. And I feel like a 6-year-old will be like, yeah, you're right. Right? But it's like, but none of us are really taught like, what is communication?
Correct.
How does it work? How does it look? Is it best going to work like for you?
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And so I believe communication is important in everything you do.
Correct.
Not just like your close relationships, even your business relationships.
Oh yeah.
Between you and your employee.
Correct.
Between you and the guy at the fruit stand you only met once in your life.
True.
Right? Like I feel like communication is important everywhere, right? What I really like about what you're saying, though, was one thing that I got with you and your girl was that one thing that for you has worked that you've realized or you've discovered for your relationship and your communication is being direct.
Yeah.
Right. And that I think what can trump you two being completely different people, different backgrounds, grew up differently, have different meaning for different words, is to just be direct, right?
Yeah, correct.
Right? And rather than like you realizing, okay, ASAP didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? But I can be responsible for being vague.
Yeah. It's like,
right?
it's my fault. It's my fault.
And it's not about fault, right? Because we also don't want to blame ourselves like it's bad, right? But it's like, okay, I can definitely see that in my communication, I was very vague, and that as soon as possible for him or her is different than as soon as possible for me, right? And so what I'm going to try on is just being more direct. Hey, babe, we got to go at 10:30.
Yeah, correct.
Will you be ready?
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's really important to also get agreements, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's like, hey,
correct.
babe, like, hey, we got to go soon. We got to be out of here by 10:30, right? And now she or he is over there rushing to be out by 10:30, right? But I feel like it's really important, right? Because if 10:30 rolls around and she's not ready, now you're in a fucking now you're resistant.
Yeah, correct.
Fuck, man. Like I told her 10:30. I was direct. I didn't say ASAP this time.
Yeah.
I fucking said 10:30, right? Why is she not ready?
Yeah, correct.
But I feel like that follow up, like, hey, babe, we got to be out of here. We got to be out of here fast.
Yeah.
We got to be out of here at the latest 10:30.
Yeah.
Is that gonna work for you?
Yeah. And now
right?
that,
Because at least that gives her the chance to say, fuck, babe, it's gonna be like 10:40.
Okay, that's
cool. And you're like, fuck, all right, I'm gonna call John real quick and just let him know.
We're gonna be correct.
But see that extra little follow up, right?
Correct.
To give that person the opportunity to tell you if that's gonna work or not, right? Now it gives you the ability to take action.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Okay, fuck it. Now when 10:30 rolls around, you're not pissed off because she was straight with you. She told you 10:40. Now John's not gonna be pissed off that you guys are fucking late because the fact that she told you were gonna be running late gave you the opportunity to call John and let him know. And for me, this is how I see communication, right? There's and then there's something else you said that for me is it's this I've taken some communications courses, right?
Okay.
And there's this we call it a distinction, right? Called recreation.
Okay.
Right? Where you recreate people and you can also have people recreate you back.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Like you say something, right? Like let's just say somebody says something to you, right? Like rather than you just starting to say what you think, or like, oh yeah, totally. Look, well, tomorrow we're gonna blah blah, right? Or just saying like, oh yeah, I got it, right? Being like, okay, cool. So what I'm getting from what you're saying, and it's not about repeating what they said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? It's not about repeating the words that they said.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, okay, what I'm getting is that when you talk to your sister and she does this thing that it kind of makes you feel like, it kind of makes you feel sideways.
Yeah.
And when it makes you feel sideways, now you start acting a little weird around your sister, and you're just not quite sure how to take care of that.
Like, did I get that right?
And then it's like, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, correct.
And then it gives them the opportunity to be like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, correct. And
right?
sometimes they might say...
You took the words out of my mouth.
And sometimes they may be like, no, that's not what I'm saying, bro. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but see... And that's the part that for me, that's where recreation is so important in communication, because imagine if you would have just been like, oh, yeah, I get that. But what you left with was not really what they meant.
Yeah, correct.
And now you're speaking and behaving to this person through the lens of what you thought you heard.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And then it's like now communication is off.
Yeah.
Because what you're speaking into is not what that person really said.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you give that opportunity through recreation for them to be like, I mean, kind of, but it's actually a little bit more like this.
Okay.
And now you're like, okay, so it's this and this and that. And they're like, that. Perfect. And now you know what you're speaking into. Now you know what you're talking at, right?
Yeah.
And you can do the same. It's vice versa. You can say something, right?
Yeah.
And if at any point you feel like, I wonder if they understand, like, not even so much like, I wonder if they understood me. It could even also be like, I wonder if what I said came out the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
And you could be like, hey, real quick, what did you get from that?
Yeah, correct.
Like, what did you get from what I said? And then you give them the opportunity to recreate you. And then you could be like, you know what? Actually, I can see how you got that.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
And I can see where what I said was a little bit off. Actually, no, that's not really how I feel about him or her.
Yeah.
It's just that when him or her does this thing, in that moment is how I feel about him or her.
Correct.
And they could be like, but you see, it's that recreation, either recreating others so they can feel heard, and so you know what you're now speaking into, and then having others recreate you so that you feel like they actually
understood you.
And now whatever they say is actually towards what you meant to say.
Yeah. And that's clarity right there. And I think that you learn how to like create the image or that personality of that person more accurately, you know?
Absolutely.
What I learned a little bit is like just being really honest with the person. Like, hey, bro, I don't know you. I saw you in an expo, I think. But what's your name, bro? You know, instead of just being like, or just avoiding him. You know, this happens a lot in the expos. A lot of people are barber have ego. They don't like introduce. But what I learned is just like, hey, bro, real quick. I don't know your name, bro, but I think I follow you on Instagram. Can we check? And that me being honest, communicating that way has helped me build a lot of relationships.
That's awesome. And that's awesome that you're like that, dude. At 27 years old, again, I started like my personal development communication journey in 2017. So that's 8 years. So I was 30, bro. I was like right around 30. So you starting that at
2019. I started like
awesome.
2019, 2018.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. You started super young, right?
Yeah.
But right now that you said what you said about the barbering thing, I'm pretty sure we're fucking already like 40 minutes into this thing, which is awesome. This is exactly how I want this to go, right? But for anybody that's actually already listened this far ahead, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, what you're up to right now, what you've been up to, right? Like just so that anybody listening kind of knows who they're listening to, right? Because I heard you say about the barbering expo, right?
Yeah, correct.
So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so I started my barber career in 2020 professionally, right?
License. So you got your license in 2020, okay?
I started cutting hair in South Central since I was 14. Unfortunately, everyone told me go to college. I didn't know any better. So I went to college. I'm not saying that college is not good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't prepare you as we think is going to prepare you for the future, you know? So I ended up going to college. I'm still cutting hair. But at some point I stopped cutting hair and I'm doing like side jobs like valet. I'm over here like working at convention centers, just doing little side jobs, you know? And COVID comes. I finish my degree. I get my bachelor's degree in business management. So I did my 5 years and a half in college. I studied marketing, finance, management, communication. Once I graduate, I started applying for jobs. I remember I started applying for jobs and I'm looking for jobs. And I kind of want to do corporate. You know, I already did I already did my bachelor's. Might as well go corporate. And when I'm applying for these jobs, Josie, they starting you at 46,000, like 44,000. The most I saw was like 52,000 with 2 years of experience. And like I don't even have experience. I don't have
2 years of experience.
So how am I gonna start at 52? And I was like, wait, I'm already cutting hair three days out of the week. Let me see how much I make. So I went and I added out the numbers and I was making like 24,000. Right? So I was like, hey, this is not bad. 24,000. I'm only cutting hair 3 days out of the week. What could happen if I go full time? But it was scary, Josie, because I was like, how am I gonna tell my mom I'm not going corporate? How am I gonna tell my dad I'm not going corporate? You know? And then so I remember it's August 2020. I submit my last assignment, my last essay. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not gonna wait for my degree because my degree, I was gonna cross stage until next year because of COVID. I had to wait another year. So I never crossed the stage. My degree came like in December of that year. And like the day I get my degree, I'm starting my barber career. So I got it in December 2020. I create a booking app. I create my prices. I start marketing. And then 2020, I go full on into barbering. Now I did this. This is my third year being a 6-figure barber, and that was something that I thought was impossible. And I know a lot of barbers think it's impossible, and they get to a stage where like I'm making a lot of money, but I don't want to report it because IRS. So they're losing from a lot. They're stopping themselves from a lot of opportunities, not actually being bankable, not actually having bank statements, doing the LLC, paying yourself, paying taxes. And so I went through that stage. I'm already in my third year in, so I've gone full in. I'm gone full in. I decided to start a podcast. Originally, the podcast it wasn't going to be about barbering. It was going to be more about like entrepreneurship, personal development. But I realized that I hadn't done too much in the entrepreneur space to talk about it. So I'm like, what I could talk about now is barbering. I've done a lot of barbering. So let me talk about barbering. So I launched the podcast last year. Now, at February, we have 1 year anniversary. So right now, this month, we have a 1 year anniversary of launching the podcast. So now I'm more headed towards launching a financial firm for barbers. So the reason I started the podcast was to create brand recognition. So I launched the podcast, create an audience, create followers, and then you launch the product. A lot of people do it the opposite way. Yeah. They launch the product first, then they want to market and they build the audience.
And then they wonder why nobody's buying it.
And then when you do it the way I'm doing it, I'm not saying this is gonna be the outcome, but when you build the audience for 2, 3, 4 years, and then you launch the product, you can launch $1 billion product.
Oh yeah,
a $1 million product, right? Because there's 5 years in the back end of it, of you building brands. Are you building that brand recognition, of you building followers and the audience, So that's kind of where I'm headed towards now. I'm building the audience. I do want it to be barbers, but overall, at some point, you're an entrepreneur. You're doing nails. You're doing eyelashes. You're doing hair.
So you want it to be in like the hair, the service industry.
The service industry, because ultimately at the end, you'll see if you're doing lashes and you're doing barbering, when you're accounting for it and you're doing the bookkeeping and the financial side, it's almost the same thing. You have equipment, you have lease, you have rent, you have marketing, you have tools, supplies. It's all the same. So when I launched that financial firm where I help these small businesses become bankable, it's gonna be the same process almost.
So what does that look like? I just kind of want to get a clear understanding of what do you mean when you say, because what I'm hearing is you want to launch a firm that does consultation,
but more bookkeeping and accounting for barbers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so being bankable, what would it look like for a barber to be bankable?
So, for sure.
Wires in your way.
Okay. No, for sure. You need bank statements. You need to keep track of all your income. You need an LLC, right? You need to pay yourself. You have to have P&L sheets, balance sheets. You have to have all your statements from 2021, 2022, all of them separated in folders. You need your receipts separated in folders. For the day you do go to a bank, you do want to get a car, you do want to rent out an apartment, you could do it easily, right? So what happened to me is when I was in college, I was trying to apply for this apartment. I was already doing barbering on the side 3 days out of the week. I was making decent money, and I went to apply for this apartment. They're like, "Oh, where's your proof of income?" And I was like, "Oh, I got my money right here." I said, "I got
my proof right here."
Yeah. And they're like, "No, like you don't got bank statements." You know, I was like, "I don't." And they're like, "You need bank statements." So that's kind of like the first moment, like a light bulb went into my head, and like, oh, I need to become bankable, you know. So before I get married, I start making. The year I'm about to get married. I know I was gonna hit 6 figures in barbering, so I was like, I never handled this much money, never.
And was it mostly cash?
No, it was all Zelle, all through bank accounts. So I was gonna report it, and I was like, I don't know how to report it to the IRS either. So I joined this it's called Pie Accounting by Chris Bosio. And he does that for me. So he does the bookkeeping, the accounting, the Q1 reviews, Q2 reviews. We meet up. We learn credit cards.
On video, right?
On video.
Is it one-on-one or is it group?
No, it's group.
It's group. But Bosio is on there.
No, his accountants. That's just the accounting side of it. That's just the financial side.
What do you pay for something like that?
You pay $335 a month, $4,000 a year, right? But barbers need to understand that, or any entrepreneur needs to understand that your biggest expense in business, your first is always gonna be taxes. So how can you lower that expense, right? By having the bookkeeper, by having the CPA, he could help you with the tax loopholes, and for you could pay less, right? Instead of paying $20,000, $30,000, if you have a tax accountant and a CPA that helps you, you're probably paying $10,000, right? So that's why it doesn't matter if I pay $4,000.
Yeah, because you're still saving 16.
You're still saving like 16,000.
Even if you were paying 20 grand.
Correct.
Right? But this person saved you 10 grand, right? Which now makes it 10 grand, and then the 4 grand
that I paid.
You still save 6 grand at the end.
Yeah. We're just spitting numbers right here on top of my head.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is just
but that's how it looks. Like you're still saving money.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I mean when a barber needs to become bankable. You're supposed to be able to walk into a bank and be like, hey, I need a business loan. Here are my P&L sheets from the last 3 years. Here's my balance sheet from the last 3 years. Here's my bank account for this business. And look, I do not commingle with my personal transactions. They're going to be like, damn, let's get this guy a loan right now. You know? It's like they know that you're ready. They know that you know your finances, you know your numbers. And unfortunately, a lot of barbers, me going to these expos, a lot of barbers don't know these numbers.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know? A lot of barbers don't know how much they made last week. They think they know how much they made. They think they know how much they made today, right? But they didn't add the tips. They didn't add this. They didn't add that. So they don't really know. They don't have a clear picture on their finances. So once I saw that problem in the industry, that's when I was like, okay, I need to build something for California, because Bosio's in Florida. Yeah. So I want to be the Bosio of California. You know, I want to be the Diego Mendoza of California and start helping barbers in California be bankable. Okay. So that's what's behind the whole podcast, the branding. Okay. Everything I'm going towards right now.
The awareness the audience, the audience that you're up to building right now, that audience, building that audience is with the intention of eventually, not just, obviously this is just one product, right? I get that there could be multiple, right? Yeah. But your intention for building the audience is so that one day you can build a program that makes barbers bankable. Right? I do recall you telling me out of this podcast that you also wanted to start a barber academy. Yeah. Is that the same thing?
No, or that's different? That's different. So okay. Different because the barber academy is like you're teaching people the skills, you're teaching people marketing. On this financial side of the other firm that I want to build, that's not like, I'm not teaching you how to become a barber. I'm not helping you get more clients. I'm just helping you with the financial side of it. Because people who do the financial side of it, they know, if you know, it's a lot of work. Especially bookkeeping. But the reason why I don't shy away from it, Josie, is because there's a lot of AI now. There's QuickBooks. There's Rocket Money. You know, there's Client Hub. Like, these apps facilitate you providing the service to that client. It's much more easier now.
Yeah, it's easier to provide that stuff for people.
Unfortunately, people don't know how to use QuickBooks.
And see, this is the other thing too, right? And I get caught up in this story every now and then, right? Where I say like, I think I would like to start this, or I think I would like to do that, and then I get caught in like but like there's all this technology now where people could just do it themselves.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
all
yeah.
the AI where people could just do it themselves. But one thing I always at some point end up coming back to is like, it's like Gary Vee says it, right? Why does Gary Vee give away all of his secrets?
For free.
Because he knows most people
You're
are not going to use them.
Yeah, do it.
Most people are not going to use them.
Correct.
Right? Can Rocket Money do fucking 80% of what you're saying you want to do for barbers? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Right? But how many barbers are actually going to fucking use Rocket Money or QuickBooks to do it? Not many. So that's why there's always going to be a market for people to pay to do it for them.
Mm-hmm. Like I've given my budget sheet to a lot of my clients. Like, hey, you want to start a budget? Here, boom. And they don't do it.
No.
I'm like, hey, have you done it? No, I haven't done it. So basically, that's like once you pass that barrier, because it's just a mental barrier. Like, oh, people are not gonna want this. Why are they gonna want this? They could do it themselves. Unfortunately, they haven't done it themselves.
Yeah, and they won't.
They won't.
And they won't.
So if you offer it to them, they'll more likely accept the service.
Fellas, let's be real. Your hair deserves better than a last-minute YouTube tutorial and your mom's kitchen scissors. That's where the original Clip Joint Barbershop comes in. Located in Covina, San Dimas, and now your pocket. Yep, we just launched our very own app for both Apple and Android, and booking an appointment is now easier than swiping left on your ex. No calls, no waiting, just fresh cuts, crisp fades, and a barbershop experience that actually feels like home. Visit us at the original Clip Joint Barbershop today, because a bad haircut hurts more than a bad relationship.
Now with me, it's just now like building my kind of like my brand and building that person that they could look up to. I do need to start like launching videos on YouTube, free information, you know.
Okay.
Like I did a mentorship 2 years ago, and I was giving all the information for free to all my barbers, you know, like, hey, this is how you start a budget, this is how you create a plan to.
And where were you posting this at?
It was through Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
so it was a small group.
You never recorded any of it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I should
Did
have
you ever
recorded
post
more.
any
no,
of it?
No.
Okay.
I did it.
Okay. Are you posting any of that content now?
No. But that's my next goal. Like, give value for free.
Okay.
Give value for free.
Got it. Well, I mean, your information is going to be on the description,
Right.
And I'm going to, at the end, have you repeat it. But just for whoever's still watching now, where can your content, like all this content that you want to put, what is your Instagram?
Yeah.
Your TikTok, your YouTube, like how can people find all of this content?
Okay, so right now I'm only on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, but I don't really like Facebook. I was gonna get on TikTok, but I didn't download the TikTok app, so now I can't download it. I can't download it, so I'm like, damn, man, I missed my opportunity. But YouTube is gonna be where I'm mainly going to be posting all that.
And do you do a lot more? Like right now, do you currently do more long form or short form on YouTube?
I do long form on YouTube, but I'm leaning towards short form too. Yeah. On Instagram, I post all the reels. So the way I structure,
I did see that on your IG. That's pretty dope. You have a pretty uniform page as far as your reels go. This is like an intention that I have with this podcast, right? But it's just, and this is a conversation. You're actually the first podcaster I've had on my podcast.
Oh, nice.
Right. So even though we're like an hour in right now, we're probably still got like another 2 hours of fucking everything I want to ask you.
Yeah. No, we're here.
But you're the first podcaster I have on here, right? But like for me, one of the challenges has been for me the one of the main intentions of doing the long form, like the podcast like this, is to get a lot of organic short form clips from it.
Correct.
Which if you look on my page, you do find some, but in the last 4 months, I just really haven't posted much. I have a ton of content.
Yeah.
I just haven't finalized the editing and then put it out there, right?
Okay. So do you edit it by yourself?
So I just hired my daughter. I just put her on the team, you can say. I think episode 18, right? This is going to be episode 22 or 23.
Okay.
But episode 18 was the first episode that she edited, right? Fortunately, after episode 16, I no longer really edit my podcast, right?
Okay.
Before, and again, this was the conversation we're having before I hit record, right? Which is things happen along the way where I end up consciously stopping and saying, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this, right?
Correct.
And so before I'd spend hours editing some of the editing big pauses, right? All of these things. And now I'm just who gives a I'm just gonna
upload it.
Right?
Yeah,
if right now I said hey, I gotta take a leak, right? And all right, and we both got up to go take a leak. I definitely
cut those parts.
I definitely still have us on camera getting up, right? But then immediately it would fade back into us fucking sitting back down. All right, fucking whoo. that was good, and we're ready to go, right? So like if somebody calls right now, or if something like that happens, then yeah, like I can edit that part out, right? But for the most part now, this is raw. Right? If this fucking goes on for 2 hours, 3 hours, I just post the whole fucking thing.
Okay.
I add that. My daughter adds the intro, right? She does the switcher. That's probably what takes the longest right now. Is the going from your camera to my camera to the middle, right? Because all
what
that has
are you
to be done
using
manually.
to edit?
So
Premiere
I use LumaFusion, right? But see, this is a conversation I want to have with you right now. So let me go back a little bit, right? Okay. Tell me a little bit about your journey, because again, you're the first podcaster I've had on here. So I'm really curious, what was your journey like? Okay. Right? Like when you started, how did you start? Like what was the setup process? What did you learn along the way, right? Like what did you learn from episode 1 to episode 5, episode 5 to episode 10? Because you're on what, 20 what?
I'm in my second season already. So season 2, like episode 7. So it's like my 40th.
So about 50th. How many total episodes?
Like 40, 50. Wow. Yeah.
So you've
traveling
done 40, 50 episodes in 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah.
Bro, that's an episode a week.
That was the goal. So, yeah. So when I got into it, I was already studying the game. You know, like, do you know what like a stakeout is? A stakeout? Like when I've been using, because this rapper Russ has a song called The Stakeout. So he talks about how before he got into the rap game, he created a stakeout. A stakeout is basically like, you know, when you're the police and the detective and you're looking for the narcos, and you have like Pablo Escobar on top, and then you have like the Orellanos brothers here. So like you're tying everything, like you're plotting like, oh, who's in charge. So that's kind of what I did with the podcast. Like I did a stake. I was like, who do I want to have on this? How many episodes do I want to do? How many seasons am I gonna do? What cameras am I gonna get? Like it was something that I've been plotting for like 3 years.
Wow.
So finally, I remember I'm getting married. I mean, I had just gotten married, and I knew I wanted to launch it right after I got married. The day I signed the lease for the studio is the day a day before that, me and my wife find out that my wife's pregnant.
Oof.
So I just see it like a sign. I'm just like, and then my cuñado tells me like, hey, what's up with that podcast, bro? Like, let's start it already. I'll help you. I was like, all right, cool. So like that same week, that was like December when he told me that, and then I signed the lease January to get the studio. I knew I wanted the studio to
so
do the podcast.
You pay monthly for the studio that you record your podcast.
Yeah, I do. I pay $800 a month, and we just use it once a week.
And it's just for recording a podcast.
No. I share the main owner. He uses it for photography and.
So you guys split the rent.
Kind of. I don't know what the rent is, but he was there before me. So
okay, but for what you use it for, it's $800 a month.
Yeah. Correct.
So your share of it, what you pay, is $800 a month.
$800.
And what you use it for is solely the podcast.
Solely the podcast. Now I'm transitioning to like I want to teach people on YouTube and haircuts and.
So just content though.
Content.
So it's just, so you're gonna eventually use that studio to also record haircuts.
Yeah,
okay.
Like a headquarters, like a creative headquarters. Yeah.
How big is it?
It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Like probably like I want to say like 30 by 30. 30 feet by 30 feet.
Okay, so 300 square feet.
Yeah, around
because like so 3 of these rooms really.
A little bit more bigger.
I know for some of you guys watching my podcast, I've always had it where people come in like guests, and they're like, I don't know why I thought this was a lot bigger.
Oh, okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like they get the perception that it's a lot bigger in here, and I don't think it's small, right? But it's only a 10 by 10 foot room.
Yeah, correct.
So anybody watching this, we're in a 10 by 10 foot room.
So the agreement with him, with the guy, was for me to have this room, like kind of like you, and do the podcast right here.
Okay.
But when I bought the sofas and all that, I was like, wow, it's not gonna fit right here. So he was kind enough to be like, all right, you could shoot where I shoot, but just use this corner right here. So that's when we got that spot and we were able to do the whole setup. So that happens, and then I already had a list of people. I scheduled the people like 2 episodes per day, right? And I had my cuñado like, hey, how much you gonna charge me? He's like, I'll charge you $30 an hour to be here, because he's an audio engineer. So what I learned is this, like, build a team, right? But pay people for what they know. So my cuñado, the first day he went to buy the cameras and the microphones with me, he's an audio engineer. So I was like, recruit. So when you're doing something, recruit, right? Recruit someone that knows more than you and pay him for what he knows. So that day, he's my cuñado. He didn't want to charge me anything, but I paid him $50. I'm like, bro, for going to me with guitars, to Guitar Center and going with me to this camera spot that we went to, I told him, I'm going to pay you $50. So that's when I told him, look, bro, you want to work for me? I want you to be there because I don't know anything about this audio engineer, but how much will you charge me? So he's like, oh, I'll charge you this much an hour. I'm like, dope, my studio's over here. You're down to come every Tuesday for the next 3 months? He's like, yeah, all right, cool. So the first day, I scheduled 2 interviews. So I launched them. I had the mics. I had everything going, the cameras.
And you bought all that.
I bought all that. Yeah. I
everything.
invested. I knew it was going to be like a $5,000 investment.
What kind of cameras do you use?
I have some Sony EV10. So they're the best cameras to create content with. And they could record it to 2 hours. High quality 4K resolution.
Are you able to put a bigger memory on it? Like if you wanted to record 3 hours or 4 hours?
Yeah, but most cameras, if you look into most cameras that are that price, that camera is $700. That's what people don't know. It's really cheap. $700.
That is cheap.
And the quality of it, you seen the quality of it, is like is a no-brainer. And it could record 2 hours. Like this last expo that we went to, the guy was like, hey, you sure this records more than 30 minutes? I'm like, bro, it records an hour and a half. He was like, no way. I'm like, yeah, like, I never heard of a camera that records that much. Most cameras record 30 minutes and then they shut down. The battery dies. So as we're going through it, there's this episode where the camera dies. The battery dies. It overheats.
Did you guys go over 2 hours or it just died?
It just died. It overheated. So that's when I realized I need to buy forever cable. So you buy a cable that goes inside the camera and you just connect it to the power and it will never die. And even if it dies because if it overheats, the file gets saved. You know, so compared to when you just have the battery in the camera dies, the file gets corrupted. So that we had to learn, like in the first 6 episodes, we learned that, right? So
tell me real quick. I just want to hear, even if it's just one more story, man. So okay, that one, you guys were recording. Fucking camera dies. Right? What do you do with that episode?
We were able to restore the file, but you had to pay like $200 to restore that file.
And you were able to restore the whole thing.
The whole thing. And in that moment, since I didn't want to waste the other person's time, I just paid the $200. So.
Yeah, just to make sure that they didn't go for nothing.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So that's one story. Camera died, but fortunately, you were able to get yourself out of that one.
Correct.
What other breakdowns?
The other breakdown that I have was I bought a Rodecaster. It's an interface for audio, so you connect four microphones, 4 headphones. So the second episode, we're shooting 4 people, right? And we realized that one of the outputs doesn't work for the microphones. And this is a new interface, $700.
Fuck.
So I call Guitar Center. I'm like, hey, he's like, oh, we can't do anything about it. The manufacturer has to take care of it. Send them a picture of your receipt, email them. So I'm like, yeah, but how long did it take? Like, I don't know. So I call Rodecaster, like, oh, send it in. It's going to take like a month and a half. I'm like, what? I
just bought this.
Yeah,
shit.
I just bought this and I got 2 more months scheduled already of podcast. So I return it, I send it, I go take one out with my credit card and I put it on my credit card. And I'm like, once I get the other one, I return this one. I didn't know that this one only had 15 days of return. The guy told me 45 days.
Ugh.
So I go on like day 30th to try to return it. And he's like, you can't return it. It already passed 15 days for these type of electronics.
Fuck you mean 15
Yeah,
days?
I was mad. I was like, what are you saying? So I have this Rodecaster that I bought for $800, and I have this other Rodecaster that I bought for $800, and now I have no use for it. So I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it was just an extra expense. Luckily, I just sold it last week.
Okay.
Because I put it...
To recover some of your money back?
Oh, yeah, because Guitar Center was trying to buy it off, like, 50%, less than 50% off. Like, I was not going to lose half of it. So I sold it to one of my friends. I have been uploaded like a year ago. Nobody was trying to buy it. I have a friend that just started a podcast. So luckily he was like, hey, I'll buy it off you.
Oh, yeah.
So he bought it off me. So that was a second thing.
So that was another breakdown.
Yeah. So then what I really wanted to get into is like, what I've learned is that the most important thing is building a team. You need to build a team, but the team is only going to grow as much as the leader grows. So I needed to learn how to edit by myself. I need to learn how to shortcut the reels, how to use AI, how to do all this, cut it, make it. If it took me 5 hours, now it was taking me 2 hours because of AI. Mm-hmm. So that's something.
To edit a podcast episode?
Yeah. So if it was taking me 5 hours to edit 2, now it was taking me 2 hours because of AI. So once I learned that, I remember there's some kid in my church that he's really good. He's always like, I always saw potential in him. I grew up with him and I told him, hey, bro, I'm starting a podcast. Do you want to edit my podcast? He's like, I don't know how to edit. I'm like, I'll teach you how to edit. I'll pay you for teaching you how to edit, and then I'll pay you to edit my podcast. Because I already had gotten someone to pay to edit my podcast, and they were charging me like $300 per episode.
Per
I'm like,
episode.
yeah, per episode.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
How many episodes did you pay for that, though?
So I did pay 3 episodes, but he gave me a discount. So he charged me like $500 for the first 3 episodes I launched. It cost me $500
just for the post-production.
Just to post-production.
I gotta watch those first 3
Yeah,
episodes,
just
and then I'm
do
gonna
it.
watch the other ones.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to see the difference. Like,
so then I started learning. Like, wait, I could do this. Like, I could do everything he's doing. I could do it. So I did it. I learned. Took me like 10 weeks to learn. Got this kid, hired him, taught him how I did it. Obviously, I'm like, hey, how much are you getting paid in your other job? He's like, 17 an hour. And I'll pay you 20 an hour. I know a podcast takes 3 hours to edit, so I'll pay you.
but $60 is better than $300.
So I'll pay you $75 to edit this. And he was like, what? $20? Now I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I trained him. I taught him. Now he's the one that edits on my podcast. Now I pay him more, obviously, but now it's like average like $120 per episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you
It's
free
such
up
a-
that time, like
you do.
because I mean it sucks to say it, but 120 I make it in. In 2 hours.
2 hours.
And what I'm paying him, what he's doing for 5 hours, is like it only took 2 hours of my life. You know, like I'm still winning at the end of the day. And I learned like don't waste your time on things you could pay other people to do it, honestly. Especially when you're doing like a podcast. Now, what I would recommend people is like do have a budget. Like don't go in and think it's gonna be cheap.
Yeah, this is it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. And just to state it on this episode, I wasted $22,000 invested. I hate saying the word wasted. Invested $22,000 in 1 year in the podcast, and that was by choice. Because I wanted to.
Because you could do it for much less.
You could do it for anybody
absolutely,
that wants to do a podcast. Start where you are. Start with the iPhone.
Don't get discouraged by
no,
the 20,
don't. You could start with $5 down. You could start with $1. You could start with these microphones that you have right here.
Yeah, the little my backup mics.
And the iPhone. That's it. The first time I was learning how to edit a podcast, it was an iPhone podcast. And I was like, man, why did I invest so much money on this equipment if I could have just used the iPhone?
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
nobody really taught me that.
Yeah. And so right now that you said that right now, nobody really taught me that. The 2 guests ago, he's a consultant. And it was, dude, the people I get to meet by doing this show is fucking phenomenal. His name is Antonio Gutierrez. If you guys, his is the next episode that's coming up, the one that you see me uploading to YouTube when you walked in. He's a consultant, bro. And it was such a game changer for me to meet that dude.
Yeah, correct.
Because now he sees everything in a consulting manner, right? Like I just had a conversation with him earlier this week on Monday. I went to go meet up with him for lunch on Monday, and he was like, "Dude, the podcasting." He's like you can consult for that. He's like you can put it out there. Like if anybody wants help starting their podcast,
now
like,
you could teach
charge
people.
them $500. Right, just to help them launch it, and the $500 is just to tell them like what equipment to buy, what programs they can use, how much they cost, the pros and cons of each program, how you set up the camera angles, what kind of lighting they can get, the sound panels they can make, the different budgets they can spend, just kind of guiding them to how they can start their podcast.
You could consult for that.
Just charge them a $500 fee, $1,000 fee.
For like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
It just depends, and it's
Yeah.
just gonna be like maybe two hour sessions, right? 4 hours like total for you to just kind of get them going, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And
that's
like
good.
my mind always goes to like I just want to help people.
Oh yeah, ultimately
right?
we just want to help people. Yeah.
But like this guy is so like I don't want to say he's right? But I always have that story like if I'm making money, am I really helping? Right? But that's such bullshit.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like just because you're making money doesn't mean you're not helping. I don't think they're related.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel bad, and that's what business is.
Yeah, and sometimes I get caught up in the feeling bad of it, right?
You shouldn't.
But dude, like now that you're saying what you're saying, like I think there's definitely a market for that because this shit can get expensive.
Oh yeah,
right.
correct,
So you
correct.
see, like what's your budget? My budget is so and so. Okay, great.
Okay,
I'll charge you $300.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And considering your budget,
and
right?
sometimes it's not even like yesterday I was at with my friend that started his podcast. I was giving him all the game for free, teaching him the apps, how to edit, how to upload.
Yeah.
And I spent 3 hours with him. Like, but I didn't charge him because
no, of course not.
I know there's like a transaction where like one day he might be like, hey bro, I'm gonna look out for you for this. It's more about the value and the relationship that you
and
build,
I think when it's with your immediate environment, that's perfect.
Correct.
Right? But like I also think it's okay if like somebody randomly that's not really gonna stay in your environment, maybe, right? Reaches out for consulting.
Yeah, consulting,
right?
Correct.
Or like if you post like, hey, anybody starting their podcast, right? If you just don't know where to go and you want to save yourself 10 weeks worth of headaches, right? Hit me up, right?
Yeah,
I have a podcast consulting firm, right? If that's what you want to call it, right? Where we work with different budgets, right? And then just based off your budget and what you want to do, how much consulting you really need, this is like the fee.
Yeah.
Right?
You know the only thing that's stopping me from doing that, Josie, because I thought about it already, is my subscribers on YouTube. Because how can you teach someone, hey, launch a successful podcast, but you only have 300 subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah, but see, I also don't think it's about launching a successful podcast, right? Because
it's just launching the podcast.
Because look at imagine how much how valuable it would have been for you, right? And look at you're not starting this successful like podcast yet, right?
Yeah, correct.
But imagine still how much money you would have saved had you paid somebody $500 to guide you.
Yeah,
it's the same fucking thing you just said with the accountant at the beginning of this episode, right? Like yeah, you're paying $4,000, but you're saving $6,000 on the back end. So it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're paying somebody $500, right? But you're saving 10 weeks for one. Okay. Right? And you're saving $1,000 on trial and error with equipment.
Yeah, correct.
So you know what I mean? Like it's not about like look at like I'm gonna charge you based off how many subscribers my podcast has. No, we're looking at this shit wrong. I'm charging you for the knowledge.
Correct.
Right?
Correct,
Your podcast may be much more successful than mine, right? But again, I'm not charging you for the success of the podcast.
Correct.
I'm charging you for the time I save you and the money I save you in buying crap.
Correct.
Yeah. Right? Give me your budget. I'll tell you what you can buy that's good for you within that budget.
Yeah.
And that's what I charge you for. Right? But see, see how all of these stories, and I'm the same. I have so many stories that also stop me from doing a lot of things.
Yeah. And it's just like a mental barrier.
And it sucks. And I'm not going to say it sucks, but how can I say? The thing about it is that they're not related. How many subscribers your podcast has is not related to how much time and knowledge you can save and give this human being.
Correct.
They're not. We tend to relate the two, but in reality, they're not related.
Yeah, they're not.
They have nothing. They have
no
correlation.
To do with each other.
There's no correlation between those three.
Correct.
None.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think that's
correct.
A perspective on how to look at that.
Yeah. And now I know there's a lot of people wanting to start a podcast. And I had the team around me. They helped me a lot to facilitate everything. So for like, just to give some tips, like one thing that does matter a lot is the editing softwares that you use.
Okay.
The computer that you have, the camera, and the hard drives, right? Those are like your main core factors. Like you need to have the proper hard drives.
Yeah,
because
it's going to be a lot of memory.
A lot of memory.
Each camera that I use here, when I upload it to my computer, it's like 60 gigabytes.
60 gigabytes, sorry.
And I use 3 cameras. So that's fucking
180 right there.
180 gigabytes just for one episode.
Yeah. So
and that's not including
so you need hard drives.
Else.
Yeah, you need hard drives. Right? You need the cameras. They need to shoot
4K. If
4K, you want to shoot 4K. And then the audio, all the audio. Then the editing. I think now, if you want to do it by yourself, everything culminates with the laptop that you're using, the equipment. So right now, Apple has a M2, M3, M4 chip. These computers are like they're literally
wild.
A supercomputer on your hand. Like back then, you couldn't do this, right? So the first time I uploaded the first episode, Josie, it took 18 hours.
It took fucking like
and the whole day I was stressed. The whole day I was stressed People are like, hey, what happened to that episode? Why haven't you launched it?
Yep,
You're lying.
yep.
I'm like, hey,
You're lying.
I'm over there calling my wife, like, what does the laptop say? She's like, it still says 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the? So I called like the internet provider. I'm like, man, I need the fastest internet. And they're like, bro, you have the fastest internet. So I'm like, what? So I'm like, I go and buy a new laptop. Man, that laptop, Josie, saves us so much time.
Yeah.
Because in my other laptop, to export a video, it took 2 hours. This one export in 35 minutes. Once you export it, to upload it, it'll take 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I noticed, like, damn, this laptop changed my life. I have the M2 chip laptop. It costs around $1,800. Apple, you could buy it, you pay it monthly. I think it's like $141 a month.
Yeah.
I finished paying it in 1 year, so I think that was a good investment.
Yeah.
My editor, he has an M4 chip. So if mine is fast,
His is
way faster. So what we did at some point to facilitate everything is we'll meet once a week at Starbucks, right?
And you give him all the files?
We'll transfer files. Oh, we're just working together. He's working on the one episode, I'm working on one episode. So that's where I tell you, like, your team could only grow as big as the leader grows. So I can't expect him to be like, hey, Chele, do two shorts, this long form, this, and have it ready in 2 hours. If he's never seen me do it.
Yeah.
But if he's seen me do it, be on my laptop, boom, my headphones locked in, hey, edit this, put this, and I also learn from him. If he doesn't see you do that, he's not gonna be able to do that. But now we work together. It's like I'm also editing, I'm also doing the content, the shorts, uploading. I'm doing all that too as well. The thumbnail, the YouTube. I'm doing that too.
Yeah. Okay. What programs do you use to edit your long form podcast?
Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is really good. It's $35 a month subscription. You get everything. You get Illustrator, Adobe Cloud, Photoshop, Premiere. I think it's a good. Back then, these programs used to cost $3,000, $4,000.
But it was a one-time fee.
It was a one-time fee, but
by the time you got halfway, there was another one coming out.
Yeah, and it was scary to even start a podcast back then. Like, now it's like you could pay monthly subscriptions. You pay monthly. So I was gonna tell you, going back to, like, you said that the most difficult part on editing this podcast is the time consuming is switching the cameras, right? Mm-hmm. So now, Josie, there's a AI that does it for you.
But what does it use to do the switching?
So it will ask for the 3 cameras and the audio, so 2 audios. So how many cameras is there? Okay,
2 audios.
3.
Where do you get the 2 audios?
Right here, 1, 2.
Okay, got okay. The
1,
audio
2.
from the mics.
Yeah, for the audio from the mics. So then it'll be like, who's on camera 1? So you're gonna title this camera 1, Diego. Who's in camera 2? Two speakers. Who's on camera 3? Just Josie. Once you give it that information, Josie, it'll start chopping it. And from season 8 to, episode 8 to now, like being episode 40, that's all we use. And it's so good, so accurate.
And so how often does it switch between camera angles?
So every time you speak. And then the only one that you could control, you have major control, is over the wide. So you could choose, I want the wide angle more frequently. So
and you can choose like every 15 seconds, I want the wide angle one to come in. Like,
not that precise, but you could just put like more frequently, less frequently, and then moderate. So it gives you those 3.
And so have you analyzed what each one of those features does?
Yeah. So in the beginning, you just got to play with it.
When you put frequently, right? How often would you say it goes to that center camera, the wide?
So I would be like 50% of your episode is on the wide. 50 to 60% is on the wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that also goes based off of voice.
How often you're speaking on the mic.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to tell you is that there's an AI that does that like in 2 minutes. So you don't got to sit down because I was doing that. I was sitting down and switching.
Yeah, well, that's what my daughter's doing right now. So.
But the AI does it really. It's just called AutoPod, but it's a plug-in to Premiere Pro. So you need Premiere Pro.
Okay, but do you pay
AutoPod.
for that plug-in too? Is that also a subscription or is that a one-time fee?
Well, subscription. So in subscriptions right now, I waste almost like, I want to say like $150 a month for all the
CapCut, right?
CapCut, Canva, Premiere, AutoPod, and Opus Clips. So now there's this other one, Josie, that I use. Okay, I uploaded an episode yesterday, right? So now I don't really have to go to
Screen record it. Whatever you're doing right now, screen record it.
No. I upload it to this app.
Here, watch, real quick.
Oh, screen record if I could send it to you?
Yeah. So you could send it to me. That way, whoever's watching can see what you're doing.
So, let me see if this. My Wi-Fi is on. I don't got no signal. It was working. I was barely had signal when I. But basically, wait. I'm not gonna be able to show you.
Okay.
But that episode, I downloaded 2 reels already, right here. Why I was right here.
Myself and people that are out here that are just creators, more than barber. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't see these people out here, grinding with us.
So what I do is I upload the YouTube video to this AI, and the AI will spit you 30 videos already titled, description, and they'll grade them for you. The hook, the content. Why is it an A? Why is it a B? Why is it a C? Why is it a D? Or rate him or grade him 99 out of 100, 88 out of 100. This was captivated the audience attention more or whatever. He started talking about this. So grade him and give you a description. And all you got to do is schedule those videos on YouTube. And while I'm here, it's just uploading on YouTube with the description, with the title. So that AI.
So have you analyzed the analytics of the videos, right? Like if you post like a 99 grade one, for example, like an A grade video, have you seen if it's performed better than when you uploaded like a middle grade video?
Not too much on Instagram. You could tell a little bit more on YouTube because it's mostly being pushed to your subscribers. You aren't able to tell the difference yet. But on Instagram, because I do have more views and all that, there's some videos that would do like 3,000 views compared to like 2,000.
And is that usually like the AI was right?
Yeah.
The AI was right?
Most of the videos I uploaded, the last 30 videos, is all through the AI. Wow. So AI is really powerful. That's like, people are scared that AI is going to take away your job. It's not going to take away your job. It's going to make your job easier.
Well, so I'm so glad. This has been this has been a hot topic for me. AI has been like a super hot topic for me. Because I believe in AI.
Yeah, me too.
I also believe that AI has the potential to destroy us.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. Why do you, if AI ever did destroy humans, why do you think?
I think because humans gave it access. Like you're gonna give it that access.
Access to what?
To like ourselves, to our body, like that.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. For me, one of the things that I've heard that I'm like, wow, I think that had to have been one of the most legitimate theories I've heard for AI, which is that eventually the AI is gonna be so smart, right? It's gonna know so much, and that eventually the AI is gonna be programmed to survive.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Like I heard, I don't remember where I heard it from, but I heard that ChatGPT, right? That there was a model of ChatGPT, one of the early models, where I guess one of the programmers had put in there for like the app to like restore itself. In other words, to like make sure it survives, almost like at all costs, right? Uh-huh. And when they created a new version for ChatGPT, right? It was like that last version was like trying to kill the new version.
Oh, damn.
And when they were trying to shut down the old version copied itself. So that when they shut down the original, it still had the copy and therefore it was still alive.
That's crazy.
Right? And so the theory I heard that I was like, that one actually makes sense, is that at some point somebody's gonna fuck up and pretty much say that like so that AI can, like, I mean, if AI is running everything for us, right? The last thing we're gonna want to do is have AI fail.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
And so if we create AI to survive like at all costs, right? I believe the fear that I heard, right, is that if AI then either gets programmed and or figures out that as long as human beings are on the planet, AI has the possibility of being destroyed, right? Because humans, I mean, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I truly believe we're fucking destroying the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Cutting down the trees, pollution, waste. We got garbage islands out there. Like, there's so much shit that's happening that like we're little by little fucking slowly and or quickly destroying the planet.
Destroying the planet, yeah.
So if AI figures out, wait a minute, if we let these people fucking stay here, at some point, something's gonna happen where we're gonna be destroyed too.
Correct.
And it's like, so before that happens, we need to, like, as an AI, we need to figure out a way to get rid of these motherfuckers. So that doesn't happen. And then right now, I've heard Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, talking about Trump having Elon Musk is like.
But they're starting to get really close to what's called infinite energy, whether it's nuclear or whatever. But it's like something that they're creating where energy can become infinite. Right? So if you think about it, if a machine like AI figures out that it has infinite energy, where whether humans are here to control that energy or not, it doesn't matter. The AI will survive through this new infinite energy.
Energy that exists. Damn.
Right? Like, does the AI really need us after that's figured out?
Yeah,
I don't know, right? This is just like...
No, it gets really trippy. Like, have you seen Black Mirror?
I've seen a few episodes because it's a series.
Yeah, yesterday I was watching Black Mirror with my wife, and it's all about, like, people want to... They call it transhumanism. Like, Elon Musk believes in, like, you being able to download your conscious and download it to someone else, and then you're surviving forever. Or you could download your conscious.
What is that called? The chip that they're fucking starting to put
Neuralink. Yeah.
Neuralink.
Now, ultimately, this is what I believe, that there's nothing new under the sun, Josie.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people think like we're like the most intelligent civilization that existed. Honestly,
Who knows?
People might disagree with me. I think back then there was more civilizations, more advanced.
There have been more intelligent in the past.
Yeah, way more intelligent in the past.
Like 2 million years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
And we just destroyed ourselves.
Yeah, correct. And everything's just a cycle. We're fortunate to be in this cycle. And just I try not to get too overwhelmed about it. I do keep up a lot of AI. Like I saw China made its own AI.
Well,
and now
every country right now is making
their own AI. Yeah,
right
correct.
Now there's definitely an AI.
But
I don't want to say war, but like an AI battle, right? Like
correct. AI. But what people haven't came to realize is that artificial intelligence already existed when Facebook and Instagram existed, because they were making their own algorithm for every person. So Facebook will track your information.
Yeah, they were already learning. They were
already learning
things.
And we're talking about like 10 years ago. Facebook became public in 2009, I think, with Twitter. So it's like almost 20 years, and they've been collecting data. It's been learning. It's been growing. Instagram too, TikTok too. It learns more about you. Like, AIs were already here.
Yeah.
You know, and people are just like, oh,
it was just the early stages. It was
correct.
Just the early stages of AI.
But now, AI, people, you stop focusing on the danger. It's like the first conversation we had. Like, we always see the bad, right? But you wouldn't see the good. And I want to use AI for good. I want to
And that's where I was going at with this conversation, right? Like, I know we went into like the darker part of AI, right? But I don't know if you recall that I started this conversation with saying like, I'm a believer of AI.
Yeah.
Like,
correct.
I support AI. I'm all for AI. And it's because what I see is the internet all over again, right? Like, how many of us, right? I may be a culprit to this with social media, right? But like, how many people were like anti-internet? That's gonna be a fad.
Yeah, the Y2K era, right? The Y2K.
Like the internet is the devil, right? But none of those beliefs stopped the internet.
Oh,
right?
yeah, none of it.
And so the people who, even if you didn't agree with it, but the people who seen it wasn't going anywhere, and they learned about it, they learned how to use it, they learned how to leverage it for their life. Yeah. They scored. I see the same thing with AI. You started with saying like some people think AI is going to take their jobs. The unfortunate reality is it is. It is. The unfortunate part isn't that it's going to take people's jobs. I believe the unfortunate part is that it's going to take people's jobs, and those people aren't going to like conform with everything. They're not going to catch up with the knowledge. They're going to stay stagnant. They're going to keep saying AI is too much. It's bad. It's this. And then they're going to be stuck. Right? The internet took like 20 years to like fucking really.
Correct.
AI is going to take like 2-3 years to fucking be what the internet did in 20. Right? So the possibility of you getting left behind technologically, we're in that phase right now where whoever doesn't keep up with AI, whoever doesn't learn about it, whoever doesn't educate themselves about AI and starts to create ways to leverage it for their life, dude, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's going to be, I believe, my opinion, it's going to be really sad to see a lot of that
I would say
happen.
like the last revolution, like, was like the internet revolution. That created billionaires. I think the AI wave is going to create trillionaires. Like, there is trillionaires right now in this world, but I feel like it's going to create more trillionaires in the world of AI. There's going to be so much money in there. So if you don't, even though you don't support it, invest in it at least. Go buy some NVIDIA, some AMD
or use it,
stocks.
or use it, right? Whether you invest in it or whether you use it, right? Like whether you use it for whatever you're up to, whether it's a podcast, whether it's your business, whatever. Like learn how to use it to your advantage.
Correct.
One thing that I want to get curious with you about, not related to AI, right? Because it is something that I've never really done, right? What has it been like? What have been some of the challenges? What have been some of the benefits of having a co-host? And have you had a co-host since day one?
Yeah, I had a co-host since day one.
Who is he, by the way? Give him a shout out.
His name is Barber KO. Shout out to Barber KO from Downey. He has a barbershop called Colores Apartment. He's a whole different personality than me. I like that.
Seen that because I've seen some of your,
we need that. We need that.
Yeah, he's real vibrant.
He's really vibrant.
Really he's like a strong presence.
He's a natural like radio host. You know, like he has that radio host voice. So it's been good because it helps you keep track and moderate the conversation. He helps us with like uploading videos as well. So sometimes he brings in the guests too. It's not just me. He brings in the guests too.
Okay.
So I get to feed off his relationship and his network as well. And that was the goal. You know, I never see it as competition. I see it more as like, let's collaborate. You know, if I could get your network and you could get my network, dope. You know.
Okay, so I do get there's no right or wrong way to do it. There is no better way to do it, right? But having the experience that you have now, if somebody came to you for consultation, right, and said, "Look, I'm starting a podcast. Would you advise me to do this like solo with guests, or would you advise me like to find a co-host? What would you advise?"
For sure, I would want to see what their goals are first. Like, what's your goal? What's the name of the podcast? Where are you headed towards to? And like my end goal was to create a brand that leads up to like the financial firm. So I need as much barbers as I can get. So I needed a co-host in my case. If you want to create more personalized content on YouTube, I don't think you need a co-host. Like, just start yourself. Start where you are at. If you feel like you're gonna run out of things to say, then maybe get a co-host. Yeah, but
so what have you seen have been some of the biggest benefits to having a co-host? Other than the
network and the relationship,
right? Like you brought in your network by having a co-host. It also helps with keeping conversations alive.
Yeah,
because it doesn't have to be you. What other benefits have you seen with having a co-host?
I think that's all we get from him, and then his creativity, his input. Hey, we want to do this. We're planning to go to this event. Oh, let's not go. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's bring this. Put the lights. Let's eat. Or like, he's just giving you inputs of ideas.
Okay.
Different things to try on the episodes. So I think that's like the most beneficial.
Okay.
Part of, and then that moral support, that friendship support.
Do you guys have like weekly meetings with each other? What is that like?
A lot of phone calls.
A lot of phone calls.
The hour,
daily? You kind of talk daily?
Like once a week, but like go for an hour, and then we do meet at the episode every week.
Okay.
So we catch up. We try to get there before the episode to talk a little bit. Then we stay after the episode. We still stay like an hour.
Okay.
So we talk about what was gonna happen next week and all that.
Okay.
It's like you got the way I see it is like treat it like a business. You know, treat it like a business.
Yeah, treat it like a business. So, speaking of treating it like a business, did he also invest with you in this podcast?
No.
So financially, this is all you.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so financially, the investment is really all you.
Me, yeah.
Now, the DTB brand, right? Is that your brand or is that you and
that's mine. Brand? DTB is Diego the Barber. That's basically what he meant.
Perfect. So it's the Diego the Barber podcast, co-hosted with
KO. Yeah,
with KO. Okay, got it.
But now, so the goal is always like, so you need to have a brand podcast and you need to have a personal podcast. So we're not I'm heading towards that too. So the best way to work with a co-host is have clarity since the beginning. You know, tell them like, hey, this is my podcast. You know, like, but I like your input. I want you to be here. Don't shy away from giving input. When we start making money, I told him we'll make a legal contract, so there won't be any disagreements. So just have clarity with them since the beginning. The DTB podcast is basically my brand.
Okay, cool.
But eventually we are evolving, so we're planning to change it to a different name. And then I always encourage him like branch out and do your own thing.
Yeah, use the audience.
Use your own audience. Go and create your own content that you like, because he likes a lot of like sports, cars, and I don't really do all that. I'm more of like personal development, politics, like marriage, all that. I want to make my own content too. So I told the goal for him is to eventually branch off and do his own content.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's super cool. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, only because when I met you, it was like at a barber battle. It was like at a barber event, right? Barber Expo. Yeah. Right? It was at a barber expo. So me, personally, I never got into that scene.
Oh, okay.
I never got into like and it's strange, right? Because like I do education for Gentleman Republic. I'm an ambassador for Gentleman Republic.
Okay.
For the past 2 years, 3 years, I've toured with Gentleman Republic, right? What that looks like is I go to all the trade shows, right? New York, Orlando, Chicago, San Antonio. All of these shows, I travel with them, right? So like I'm semi like in the scene, but I've never really gotten into like the barber battle, barber expo scene. Right?
Yeah.
Like I've never really gotten into. Have you always been into that scene?
I got into it 2021. I started going to CT Barber Expo. I went to take classes in Florida. It could get kind of dangerous though if you get into it.
Tell me why.
There's too much politics, and then like barber politics. There's too
like
much
what?
Favoritism. There's already there's like barber egos, you know. So what I learned is just like be yourself. Don't force any relationship. If I do go, I just try to. It's always for me. It's not for like, I'm gonna make an impression for this person, for that person. But yeah, I started getting into it right now. I wouldn't suggest every barber, like you don't have to get into it, but it helps you. Like we're gonna do barbering for the rest of our life, at least the way I see it. So I want to stay in touch with the trends that are going inside the barber industry. I want to find out what's new. I want to find out what this barber that is upcoming, you know, and maybe get him in the podcast too, because I believe ultimately everyone's story could help anybody's, you know. So
yeah, I believe so too. So absolutely.
I just mainly go for the connections.
So where this question for me comes from, right? And I love that you said it. You said the thing that had me ask this question in the first place. You said, you know, the politics and like the barber egos. Just for me personally, I believe one of the things that like, because I did at the beginning go to like a barber battle and a barber expo, but it only took like 1 or 2 for me to be like, this is not for me, right? Okay. Because of what I seen with like the testosterone, the fucking masculinity, the barber ego, right? So I get that that's been similar to an experience with you, but now that you've dived into it a little bit more, what I mean by that is you've actually had deeper conversations, right? Because of the podcast with some of these I call them platform barbers, right? You've had deeper conversations with them on a different level than that ego you just see at the barber battle. Correct. So what has been your experience like of the platform barbers now that you've gotten to have a little bit of a deeper relationship, a little bit of a deeper connection? Do you still see that there behind, or is it a facade, or that's like really they're just like that? Some
of them are just like that, but it's not like you haven't gotten to know them that much. It's just you saw them once or twice and you think they're a certain way. But I think what has helped me is that we're all humans. At the end of the day, we're all humans. There's nothing different. There's nothing that person is doing that I can't do, you know. And there's like, so I learned to see through that and then just treat them as a regular person. And be professional with them too, and they end up being really genuine people. You know, these people go through stuff too. You might have caught them in a bad day. You didn't catch them in a good day, so yeah, maybe sometimes I'm busy and expos. People come and talk to me. I'm like, oh yeah, nice to meet you, bro. And I leave, and you might take that as offensive.
Yeah,
that's
like, oh, this was a dick.
Yeah. Like it wasn't that we were like being shady. We just had things to do.
Yeah,
you know? But I think overall it has helped me a lot sitting down with these people because my goal was mainly to just learn from them. It's like I want to learn deeper stuff from them. You know, how to start a brand, how to keep staying motivated. You know, how to do short films, how to edit, how does your production process look like, how does your running the barbershop look like, how does traveling, running a brand and the barbershop look like.
Yeah.
I'm deeper, more than just, I don't want their clout, I don't want any of that, I want their information.
I want their information.
Yeah,
I want that value that they all have.
That they all have that they can teach. And at the end of the day, when I listen to the podcast, I'm like, damn, I get to keep
this. And you get to go back to it at any point, right?
Anytime I want.
Honestly, for me, that's another huge intention for having this podcast, is that I have a cloud I don't pay for called YouTube.
Oh, yeah, correct.
That my grandkids, right, are going to be able to go back and be like, damn, look at grandpa 30 years ago, right? Yeah. And so like what you said earlier about like, I want to get my dad and my mom on a podcast, right? Even if it's just for us. Like if you do upload it, right? Like all your family gets to see that, not just today, but 20 years from now, 30 years from now, like that. Will always be there. One day our parents, unfortunately, will be gone. Yeah. And we'll have that.
Correct.
Like to look back on.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I that's one of the things I love about doing like this podcast, that it really does create so much for you personally. True. Along with all the value that you get, right?
The relationships you build along the way.
Yeah. Being that you've had so many barbers, right, and that you're a little bit deeper into the barber industry, I have this question I didn't even have in mind to ask you, right? But I'm going to ask you anyway. What are your thoughts on like the whole booth rent commission shop kind of thing? I know you're a booth renter.
Yeah, I'm a booth renter.
Right, you're a booth renter.
Yeah.
And so when you open up your own shop one day, is it going to be booth rent?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be commission?
So now, what I've seen, there's been an evolution of business models. So people used to do booth rent, commission. Now there's like a tier.
Yeah, there's a tier. Yeah.
Yeah, like first you're gonna start commission, and then once you take care of a certain amount of clients, then you can move to booth rent.
Yeah.
But most of the time you're gonna start commission.
Yeah.
But I like booth rent a lot when you have responsible barbers. I think it's convenient as a business owner. Commission is also cool, but then the barber is like, you're depending on him, or he doesn't know if he's depending on you because he's commissioned. So you do have a responsibility of bringing in clients to him. Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
But then if you're failing at that, he might be like, well, why am I going to clean the shop? Like, why am I going to take out the trash if I'm commissioned? If he's not satisfying my needs and you're not satisfying his needs in the business aspect, that guy might not feel comfortable. But I will go more for like a booth rent.
And okay, so really quick, I love that you just said what you said, right? Because I feel the same way, right? You run a commission shop, right? Like you do things for your barbers, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, whether it's you like do the best you can to bring clients in, while at the same time supporting them and learning how to bring clients in for themselves. So when they are booth rent, so when they are a shop owner, they're already well guided and experienced as to how to bring clients in for themselves, right? So this is the one part that trips me out about this industry, right? Which is that a lot of barbers that I've spoken to, right, want to do booth rent, right? But also want to work at a shop where the owner is going to bring clients.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
So tell me what are your thoughts about that? Because I don't get... So the reason I say that is because my landlord right now, where I have my barbershop, how many toilet papers do you think they buy for my restroom?
You're like zero.
How many toiletries? How many cleaning supplies?
Yeah.
How many utility bills do you think they pay for me?
None.
Right? How many clients do you think they directly bring into my barbershop?
Zero too.
Zero, right? Because why? They're my landlord. I pay them rent. As long as I pay them rent, right? By me opening up a shop and paying rent, I've agreed with myself that I am capable of bringing in business.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I wonder where the disconnect is in that translating over to booth rent. I feel like if you pay booth rent,
You're responsible.
you have now agreed
agree.
with yourself that you don't need anything outside of you to bring in clients.
Yeah.
You just need a nice space, right? That's clean,
Yeah.
right? That has good lighting,
Correct.
that has running water,
Yeah.
right? And that has a good overall environment.
Yeah,
Right?
correct.
That's all you need. Other than that, I feel like as booth rent, you take care of everything else from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I'm okay with a barber like running a booth rent shop, right? And the owner of the shop provides toiletries, right?
Yeah.
You guys don't pay for toilet paper. I'll provide it
Correct,
as the
correct.
owner, right? I'll get hand towels, right? Depending on the amount of booth rent you charge, right? Like all right, cool. Look at if you want the towel service, it's $300 a month. I mean, sorry, $300 a week instead of $250, right? If you want to be put on our shop page, right? Like that's like part of the deal too, right? Like, but I feel like the booth rent should also depend on what the owner is providing.
Yeah. Correct.
Right?
Correct. I always tell people make sure they have AC, parking, and then
Yeah.
Everything
AC,
there.
parking,
Restroom.
all utilities, restroom, right? I feel like all that stuff should just be part of the booth rent model, right? But I feel like a lot of barbers are like I don't want to do booth rent there. They're not busy.
Oh yeah. Correct.
I don't want to do booth rent there. He's not going to bring me more clients or she's not going to bring me more clients.
Correct.
Right? So I wonder, like, have you figured out, like, where is that disconnect and do you see it that way?
I do see it like that way, but now it's like I always tell people like even if you like when I open up my shop, even if there's booze rent, there's gonna be rules. Like you could do whatever you want. You're your own boss.
Yeah, I don't make your schedule.
Yeah, I don't
tell you what to wear.
But there is gonna be certain rules. No, I think I will manage how you dress.
See, this is the thing.
Barbers don't like that, right?
No, legally you can't.
Oh, legally you can't. I heard. Yeah, the booze rent. You
Can't. See, this is okay. So, and this is the part that for me, and I've been talking to barbers lately, I'm trying to dive a little bit deeper into the industry to figure out what kind of model I can create.
Yeah,
right? That would work. And I'm saying this, right? I feel like there's two reasons why a barber goes and does booth rent. The main reason, they don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, correct.
Right? They don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
And they want the opportunity to make more money. I feel like those are the two things,
Yeah,
right?
those are.
That's why people go. That's why I opened up a barbershop, right? One, I don't want to be told what to do. Two, I want the opportunity to make more money,
Yeah.
right? But check it out. So barbers want those two things, right? They don't want to be told what to do, right? And they want to make more money. But they also demand from the booth rent, from the shop,
Yeah.
to provide. Can you imagine if I went to my landlord right now and demanded certain things? Me mandan a la chingada.
Yeah,
like
hell
that's
yeah.
just
That's
not
how it works.
not the way it works, right? And I believe rightfully so, right? Why should I not be responsible for bringing you clients, right? Why should I not be responsible for providing you with things for your station? Why should I not be responsible for marketing?
Yeah.
Right? Is because one, you run your own schedule.
Yeah, correct.
Two, you wear and do whatever you
Yeah.
legally.
You're
If
not
somebody
supposed
is
to, yeah.
renting a booth from you, as long as they're giving you the rent, that's
about it.
all you can demand. Right? You can't
Yeah,
tell
I
them what to
forgot
wear.
there was like legal.
You
things
can't
to
tell
it.
them what days to work, what days not to work. None of that. How much
Yeah.
time you got? I don't want to keep you here too long.
Like 10 more minutes. Like 10 minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
It's cool.
Perfect. But so, and that's where like there's a fine line, right? Because
Yeah.
I've gotten the same thing from barbers. Like, nah, like I'm gonna open up and it's gonna be booth rent, but like there's gonna be certain things, and the thing is, there can't.
It can't. Yeah.
They're just they're.
I
there
forgot.
can't
I
be.
forgot totally. I totally forgot about the legal things. But in the perfect world, like
Of course.
of course. The way I see it is that the best thing you could do as the owner is create competition between them, and good competition. Like, hey, whoever cuts the most clients today gets $10 off the. Not today. This whole week. You get.
But see, even then, how much competition do you think my landlord tries to create for me?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
are you starting to see where I'm going?
Yeah,
where I'm going with this though? Like I feel
it's
like
not
if
your
you're-
responsibility.
If you're booth rent, my responsibility as a shop owner is to make sure the lights stay on, the water keeps running, and that every day when you come into work, you have a clean space.
Yeah.
There's a clean space, that there's toilet paper.
Yeah.
That there's everything that you need to at
operate,
least operate your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, as long as you pay me the rent, like that's really like the totality of our agreement, right?
True.
Now, I love what you're saying because I feel like this is where the industry maybe needs to start looking a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like $250 a week has been the base booth rent model for a fucking decade.
Yeah, correct. 250.
Haircuts have gone up 100% plus in the past decade. Yet, booth rent is still the same.
Still the same,
right? And so the way I see it, right, if you're going to be the type of owner that provides competition, healthy competition, right? If you're going to be the booth rent owner that has a podcast, where you bring awareness every episode to your barbershop, you're a booth rent owner that posts at least 2 times a week to bring more clients in. I feel like the rent should align with the actions of the owner.
Yeah, correct.
Right? One of the things I thought of recently was I feel like there should at least be like a minimum haircut, right? Like booth rent should depend on how much you charge, right? Like the shop, right? Obviously, as a booth renter, you can charge whatever you want, right? Correct. But the base price the shop charges is $40.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Correct.
Now, if you want to charge 45, 50, 35, that's cool.
But nothing less than that.
But you could charge less if you want. Okay. You could charge less if you want to too, right? But this shop, because of the way it is, I know is a $40 shop, right?
Yeah.
And so your booth rent is based off of 8 haircuts. So if you're a $20 shop, right, booth rent is $160, right? Because $20, 8 haircuts, $160.
Yeah.
If you're a $50 shop, right, booth rent is $400. 8 haircuts, $50, $400, right? Why? I don't see it very hard, especially if you're already a brave barber. You're a booth rent barber, which means you can handle your own. You already got clients.
Correct.
You can do your thing. I feel like averaging 8 haircuts a day is not very hard.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's not.
And so if you work 1 day a week, right, and that's your rent, right? Yeah. 4 days are now yours. As a matter of fact, 6 days.
6 days. You can still come 6 days.
Right? Because I'm not restricting you on your schedule, right? Now I'm wondering, why has there never been like a quantity of haircut like standard in the industry, right? This is what our shop charges. It's 8 haircuts, weekly booth rent.
Oh, okay,
right?
yeah.
If you're if you're $100 a haircut shop, then it's $800 a month.
$800, yeah, I get you.
I mean, a week, right?
Yeah.
So, like when you hear that model, what do you hear?
Actually, I think it's actually good because the rest of the week
is yours.
Is for the barber,
and that's if you might be a 12 haircut a day barber.
Correct.
So guess what? You even profited.
You profited
from
that
your
day.
First day.
Yeah, correct.
You profited 2 to 4 haircuts.
Yeah.
On 1 day.
Yeah, I think the only problem what I see with the whole model with that model is that there's a lot of young barbers coming in, and they don't know client retention, client acquisition.
Which is why I believe those barbers should not be looking
for booth rent. They should be in commission, training.
Yeah,
correct. Under supervision.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. But nowadays, I feel like a lot of barbers coming in have that mentality.
Yeah, I want to do booth rent.
I'm not going to pay commission.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct,
I'm not going to let the barbershop make money. But it's like, make money off of what?
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather make 20% of something than 100% of nothing.
Yeah, correct.
It's math, right?
Yeah,
it's simple math.
No. I think 250 is good. I see some barbershops that charge 300. I think that's where people are headed to right now. So 300 is going to be the sweet spot, I think. I think 300 should be the sweet spot. Again, depending on what you're providing. Correct.
Right? Because some people are paying $250 a week. The barber pays for the owner pays for the shop to be cleaned once a week, every week. They pay the fucking $200-300 a month to squire.
Oh yeah.
Right, like they pay the light, the electricity bill, which in the summer months comes out to $800, $1,000, $1,100. because of the AC, they pay the internet, they pay the cable, they pay the streaming services. They pay for repairs, right? They pay for upgrades.
Yeah.
They pay insurance.
Correct.
Right? Because most booth rent barbers don't have insurance.
Yeah,
for
sure,
their
so
business.
you had to pay.
So the barbershop owner pays for insurance. They also pay taxes. I mean, you can see all of these things that a booth rent owner, a shop owner, pays for $250 a week, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that came up for me as I've been doing this research is I believe people go into business to have financial freedom.
Yeah.
I believe financial freedom is when your income no longer depends on what your physical actions are. The way that I see it, if you got an 8-chair, 10, even a 10-chair, which is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
But you got an 8 to 10-chair shop, even if all of them are filled after rent, insurances, taxes, utilities, Squire, all these things we already mentioned.
Correct.
Right? After all of these things you already mentioned, in order to survive your lifestyle, you're still gonna have to be behind the chair.
Oh yeah. Correct.
You're still gonna have to be behind the chair. So tell me what
freedom
type of
do you have?
financial freedom is opening up a booth rent shop?
Correct.
Right? What type of financial freedom is that?
Yeah, it's not
if you still have to do a bunch of haircuts just to pay for your mortgage pay for your car and pay for food and pay for your car insurance and your home insurance, like
it gets difficult.
The model just doesn't add up to me. It just doesn't add up. I don't know, right?
Yeah. I know some guy that has a good model. I'm actually gonna be in touch with him once I open my shop.
With them.
Yeah,
get curious with them because again, the math for me so far doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Not if you want to be financially free.
Correct.
It just doesn't add up.
Correct.
Right now, yes, maybe if I open 10 of them,
maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
each one is making me $2,000 each, or 1,500 each. Then yeah, fuck it, 15 grand a month just to manage. But damn.
Yeah.
Now I'm having to manage
10
shops.
Yeah. Correct.
That's if each shop has 8 chairs.
Yeah.
Not to say 10, but let's just say each shop has 8 chairs. That's 80 different people I have to manage now.
That's a lot.
That's 10 different rents I have to pay, 10 different insurances.
Yeah.
Right? 10. It all multiplies by 10.
Man.
Right?
Yeah, it gets crazy.
And so it's like, tell me, is it possible to make get financial freedom with that model? Yeah. But look at what you'd have to build and manage just to have it.
Just to have it. At the end, like if you want it, then you'll go for it. But it could be overwhelming for some people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. True. One final question. I know you have to leave. And this is just podcast related now. Have you gotten any sponsors yet for your podcast?
I gotten people reaching out, like they want to become sponsors, but I haven't have clarity on exactly what they want to do, how much money they want to give me, or
okay, so you haven't cleared any of that.
But that's the goal. That's one of the goals.
Okay, that is a goal. Like, so right now you say you're on episode 50, for example, right? Like, by what episode would you say you want to, like, your goal is to have sponsors?
By season 3. So right now we just started season 2. So by
episode 80.
Around episode 70. Episode 70.
Episode 70
has some sponsorship.
And what's at least right now? Obviously, this I'm not holding you to this, right?
Yeah.
But as of right now, what have you seen that process look like? Like how? Like, are you gonna go reach out to people?
I'll reach out to people and then just do. They're called like CTAs between the podcasts. So it's like call to actions. Where like little commercials. So you do your commercials between the podcast.
Yeah.
And you sell their stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Now. Are you also looking to reach a certain amount of views per episode before doing that?
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
At least
number?
500 views.
So once you can average 500 views an episode, that's kind of when you're
I'll sponsor your product on my episode because I'm getting some views.
Okay, and then also like on your social media, your reels and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I see you're already getting some pretty good reach on your reels.
Oh, on the reels, yeah. More on YouTube. Once YouTube gets like 500 views, we'll go into the sponsorships because I could actually provide value for that seller or for that product that they're trying to sell in my show.
Yeah, because this shit's expensive.
It's expensive.
This shit's expensive. So at some point, this thing, I mean, it's got to be monetized, right?
Correct.
I mean, it's for me, it's a passion. For me, it's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
But if at some point we can get the hobby to sustain itself, that gives us more freedom.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you continue to do it more freely, more passionate. ultimately, the number one way to make money on YouTube is selling a product. So you have to sell something. So once you find that product, start embedding it and marketing it into the podcast.
Okay.
Like a pillow, a sweater, a hat.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
Ideally consulting, like
Consulting,
you said.
yeah. And your own brands too, putting your own brands on there, I think would be awesome.
Yeah, obviously, do your own brands,
Yeah.
Correct.
Perfect. Last two questions. First question, do you have any questions for me?
I had a question about the barbershop model, but I think the way you explained it was really good for me because I didn't know. I forgot there was legal, contracts that you can't do. I forgot you couldn't force anybody to wear a
Not
certain
only that, both ways though. Not just from the barbershop owner to the barber, but the barber also has responsibilities that right now this industry isn't taking into consideration.
Correct.
When you rent a booth at somebody's barbershop, right? Legally, you as the barber should have a business license. You should have either a DBA, a C corp, an S corp, an LLC, or some sort of entity.
Yeah.
Right. You should have your own business bank account, and you should have your own business insurance. Legally, the way an owner legally can't tell you when to work
is when you have
the same way a shop owner legally can't tell you what to wear, or what to charge, is the same way legally the booth renter should provide a business license. It's the same way that legally a booth renter should provide insurance for their booth rental business.
Correct.
The same way a booth renter should provide a business entity and a business bank account.
So it goes both ways. It's a two-way
street. It goes
street.
both ways, right? It goes both ways. Where if that person cuts somebody in their chair, right? If one of that person's machines catches on fire, which we all seen that a year ago happen, right? And the shop burns down, it goes through his insurance first. And then whatever that barber's insurance can't cover, then your insurance kicks in.
Damn. Yeah,
because technically, they're a booth rent.
Correct.
It's their own business, which is why you can't run their schedule, tell them what prices to charge, or tell them what to wear, because it's their business.
Correct.
Right? And so they should act as such.
As a business, correct,
right?
correct.
And legally, every booth renter should be providing that for the shop owner.
And most of them are not, though.
No, 98% of booth renters are not providing none of that. Maybe a business bank account.
Correct.
Maybe.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's good to know. Good to know. Yeah, definitely good to know. Yep. Yeah, that was the main question I had because, like I said, I want to open up a shop next year. So I do want to see. I like seeing the models that people are using now.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
I'm sure this won't be the last time we have a conversation.
Definitely.
Final question. Being that we're about to close out the show, is there anything you want to leave me? Is there anything you want to leave yourself? Or is there anything you want to leave to anybody that's listening before we go?
Ultimately, like the message that I like to preach is learn how to love yourself and love your neighbor, like as long as you're treating people good anywhere that you go, it's always going to be vice versa. Obviously, we don't treat people good to receive good treatment, but it's just the law of the universe. Like the more joy you share, the more happiness you share, the more compassion, the more empathy you share, when you least expect it, it's all going to come back to you. Karma. So just live with intention, live with purpose, and treat everyone like a human being. No one's better than anybody. No one's worse more than anybody. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. So just treat everyone equally. And then the last thing will be like, anything you want to do in life, go and do it, because 50, 60, 70 years later, we're not going to be here and no one's going to care.
No.
So go and do it.
Yeah.
You want to start a podcast, you want to start a barbershop, you want to launch this product, do it, because 100 years from now, no one's going to remember it. So don't lose that chance, don't lose that opportunity. Just go for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking gems.
Thank you.
Fucking gems right there, baby. Thank you for that. Before we go, where can people find your podcast? Where can people follow you on Instagram, YouTube? Like, where can all that be found?
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Diego Mendoza. You can find me on Instagram as DTB. You can find the podcast on Instagram too as DTB Podcast with an S at the end. And we mainly launch our episodes on YouTube. So you want to watch the full episodes, make sure you go on YouTube, DTB Podcast. Subscribe, share, and comment. And all support is needed. Appreciate Josie for having me here and you're sharing your platform as well, sharing my message. I've done a lot of episodes, but I never done an episode with an interview with me. So it was a dope experience. I appreciate your questions and your love and passion for communication.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you too, and I appreciate you opening up, right, about all of this stuff and just being open to have these conversations with me, you know. I think for the most part, we had pretty easy conversation. I know sometimes it can get a little difficult to have certain conversations, right? But I always love being able to see, you know, you and my guests, like really just open up and just flow with the conversation, right? So that was pretty dope. I really appreciate you coming on, brother. Hell yeah. With that said, I'd like to thank the one and only sponsor that we have, which is the original Clip Joint Barbershop. As I like to say, not only does that business sponsor this podcast, but it also sponsors my life. Right? And so the original Clip Joint Barbershop, you can find us at ogclipjoint.com. We actually just launched our very own Clip Joint app that you can find on the App Store and Google Play to make it more convenient for you to book online. Now you can use the app. We have a location in San Dimas and Covina, and we are one of the few businesses that still answers the phone when you call. If you call Covina, you'll speak directly to me, whether it's for technical support, setting you up with an appointment, or any questions or feedback you may have. If you call the San Dimas shop, you will speak to the owner there, which is Jasmine. And so if you guys are ever in the San Gabriel Valley area, ogclipjoint.com, the original Clip Joint Barbershop, find us. And as always, stay blessed, smile every chance you get, and I love y'all. Peace.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, let's go,
outro,
baby.
That was a good outro. I like that. I need to practice my...
Bucking, yo, bucking, bucking, like a pinnacle bull, bucking, wow, bucking, a good night, look, money is bull, look at that horse, look at that horse, look at that horse, see as hell, I'm back to rap.